Meeting of the Tiverton Town Council that was rescheduled due to our snowstorm/blizzard on Monday, Thursday, January 29th at 7 p.m. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk.
Councilor Comito?
Present.
Councilor Burke?
Present.
Councilor Janick?
Present.
Councilor DiMederos?
Present.
Councilor Edwards?
Present.
Councilor Paul?
Present.
Councilor Perry?
Present.
All present.
Thank you. All right, first item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Would any members of the council like to remove any of the items on the consent agenda? Otherwise, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as listed.
So moved.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? None opposed. Okay, public comments. Susan Anderson, Demolition Day Training. Ms. Anderson, thank you.
So last Friday, I had received an email from Preserve Rhode Island regarding an upcoming webinar on demolition delay training. And the front page of their cover letter they sent it out to, their members and all the state. And the front cover has a nice picture of the Lafayette House on it. So Tiverton is #1 on their list, so for demolition delay training. I forwarded that to, I hope the clerks to give to you guys, because you asked for a workshop on this, and here it is. It is February 11th at noon to 2, and it's a webinar, so you don't have to go anywhere. You can just chime in. And they also, if you opened it up as to what this was about with the guest speaker, who is a historic, he's a James K. Reap, is Professor Emeritus and past Director of the Historic Preservation Program in the University of Georgia College of Environment and Design. And he's been preservation planners and all the different things. But my concern is that they invite participants to submit questions in advance on the topics, and the questions are due next week on the 7th. So the topics are like legal authority and framework for Rhode Island municipalities, how demolition delay differs from historic districts or other preservation tools, practical implementation, property owner concerns, enforcement mechanisms and effectiveness, Rhode Island-specific issues and experiences, and they include Pawtucket and Tiverton in here, case studies and best practices from other states, and support for property owners during the delay period. So if you cannot attend this, I would please give them your questions, and hopefully they will answer them during this. But I hope and pray that every one of you that wanted a workshop on this is your chance.
Question for you. Do you know if they'll be recording it so we can watch it after the fact if we don't make
I
those
believe-
times?
I actually reached out to them, and I have not heard back to ask if it was being videotaped. But this is that workshop that we talked about, and after this, the historical preservation will be coming back looking for an ordinance on,
Well, no, for legislation, for the town council to go to the state legislators so that they can give us enabling legislation to have a demolition delay.
ordinance, right. So this is what was asked for. The council did request this, so
Right.
this is the opportunity. It's a 2-hour webinar. You do have to register in advance.
Yep.
So I think they have limited bandwidth, and I'm not sure how many participants they'll allow, so.
Yeah, they have, it's open to the public with a limited number of spaces.
So I would encourage everyone to hop on if you can.
Yeah. And they're giving priority to Historic District Commission members, building officials, city officials, including clerks, zoning officials, and town planners. And because you are town officials, and when I got this, I responded to them saying that I had emailed to you and invited you, and they responded, oh, I hope they come. I hope they attend. So,
Thank you. I'll
Thank
make
you.
every effort to be there.
Thank you, Susan.
All right, next, yes. Can we finish the public comments and then do that? That was.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's two more, sorry. And then without objection, we'll take that out of order. Thank you, Counselor. Jamie French regarding Resolution 2025-0006.
Hi, I live on Craig Avenue. And just to add what Sue had said, I'm really concerned about 439 Main Road, the pre-revolutionary historic Hicks house that is or could be demoed at any time, I guess. No, there's no active demo permit now. There have been expired ones. And recently, the barn was demoed, and that was not supposed to happen. So, but I'm here to, the resolution 2025-0006 was the water district merger of the North Tiverton Fire District and the Stonebridge Water District. And though this group did a dissolution of that resolution, they did not do a withdraw to leave, which would take the resolution out of the record. So when you look at the record now, it's that resolution still is on the list of active resolutions.
Our
And
solicitor
even-
is shaking his head because it was rescinded.
What?
Our solicitor is shaking his head because it was subsequently rescinded at a further meeting.
It may have to be marked rescinded. We don't remove resolutions. It was passed, it's rescinded, but it has to remain on the record as when it was done, when it was rescinded.
It does say
But
rescinded.
other places, other communities do a withdraw to leave, which removes the resolution from the list. Because, you know, in 10 years from now or 5 years from now, that resolution is going to be still sitting there. Because I can look at resolutions that were passed 20 years ago. But the fact that they dissolve is going to be, who knows where that'll be. It'll be buried in some town record, in some closet, and no one will know about it. And as long as that resolution is still sitting on that list, it looks to be active. It could be, maybe it should be added to it that says that it was dissolved, but right now it's on the active list of resolutions.
It sounds like the clerk will look into it for you.
Ms. French, you cited other towns. What other towns?
Fall River,
Okay, Fall River's not in Rhode Island.
I know, but it's still, it's
Okay.
still legally, and
I'm just
I
making a
know in
point. It's not
Arizona
Rhode
they
Island.
also have done it. I don't know that many resolutions that get dissolved, but I know that it's not, when you look at the resolutions, it's still active on the list. And there should be some way to show that that is not an active resolution. And as I'm saying, 5 or 10 years from now, that still looks like it's an active resolution.
I think you raise a good point. It sounds like the clerk is going to do some investigation and
Thank
see if
you.
we can rectify that for you. Thank you. Last person for public comment is Shirley Ann Dupere?
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, regarding the feral cat ordinance.
Yeah, okay, so, I mean, it's not short. I was
So
expecting,
I'll give you the option if you want to speak on this when it comes up, or if you want to do it now, it's your choice.
oh, no, I can wait until it comes up.
Okay,
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Okay, yeah.
I'll make sure I keep this front and center so you can be the first one to talk when it comes up.
I'd like to add a name to that, too. I'm going to speak on behalf.
Yeah, when it comes up, you can absolutely enter that into
Okay.
the record. Thank you. Now, without objection, I'd like to take item 10G out of order. All right, hearing no objections, Councilor Perry, recognition of Miss Christine Costa as recipient of the Teaching America 250 Award from the Jack Miller Center. I know Councilor Perry has a personal connection. I do as well. Miss Costa was my homeroom teacher in middle school.
Really?
So I'm beaming.
Oh, my God.
Councilor Perry.
Ms. Costa, you could come up. I'd just like to give you a little background on, the Jack Miller Center is an educational nonprofit committed to civic education today last week announced awards, the Teaching America 250 Award, thanks to the generous support of the Carnegie Corporation of New York. The awards will allow 51 teachers from across the country to develop and implement engaging educational projects focused on the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. The Teaching America Award winners are introducing to the next generation essential ideas, stories, documents of American civil traditions. Through their projects, these amazing educators will make the 250th birthday memorial experience for thousands of students across the country. The 51 teachers selected represent each state and Washington, D.C. Each recipient will receive $5,000 in funding from their own design to encourage teachers with the history of American foundation and the ideas of Declaration of Independence. Projects include field trips to museums, state capitals, school assemblies, student art projects, and community events. Selected winners, again, were chosen 2 weeks ago. And we have the opportunity in the town of Tiverton to have one of those 50 that were selected, Ms. Christine Costa. So in recognition of your great achievement, and we're so proud of having you in our school system.
Thank you very much.
The award is not here tonight, unfortunately. But,
That's okay.
but I do know where you live, and I will be dropping it off to you.
Thank you. I'd just like to publicly announce that our Patriot Night that we have annually at the middle school is next Wednesday evening from 6:30 to 7:30. Everyone is welcome to attend. That's the big event that I submitted along with a proposal where during Civic Learning Week, we're taking our middle school mock trial team to go see Rhode Island's copies of the Declaration of Independence, to learn more about how back then they wish they had jury trials, they wanted jury trials. Now we're fortunate to have that. And then we're taking the team on a tour of the Rhode Island Supreme Court, and then we're going to have a one-on-one Q&A with the judge. As for all of sixth grade, we'll be going on a field trip in June for a historic tour of Europe, and we're going to be reciting the Declaration outside the steps of the old Colony House. So a lot of great ties to the Declaration to look forward to. Great.
Christine donates a lot of time, of her own time. She also, I think you've won 2 or 3 straight mock trials.
The last 2 we won, we have for the high school, our first playoff round next Thursday, so
So, you know,
Yep.
again,
fingers crossed.
it's great to have you as a teacher, believe me.
Thank you very
I
much.
wish we had more
appreciate
like you.
everybody. Thank you.
Microphone's not on. So our state representative is here this evening to talk about some legislation. I know the rep has been kind enough to follow up on additional bills that were put in last year on the town's behalf. I believe that some of those have been submitted again.
Yeah, you had 13 bills last year. I submitted 11 of them thus far. One of them appeared to be unconstitutional, so I took a pass on it. The other one was also not really well. It wasn't something you were going to ever get, so I just passed on it. Well, you have one that deals with watersheds, and that's the one I'm going to put most of my effort on, because cities like Providence, they have the Situate Reservoir, totally protected. No one can build anything near it. Newport has multiple reservoirs in multiple towns. You can't build any, or even recreate in any of those areas. So we have Stafford Pond, we have the watershed north of us in Fall River. We want to make sure that we are protecting our only sources of water. So I'm going to put a lot of effort into that.
Now, one other thing to mention, I've already spoken to the rep about this, but it was just, I guess, announced that the truck tolls in Rhode Island were deemed, I guess, constitutional and can proceed. It sounds like there's about 9 months before they start back up. Sorry. Oh, sorry, they had unconstitutionally had to change it. Basically, every truck is going to get paid or is going to have to pay the exact same toll, regardless of size, where Rhode Island had a structure where heavier trucks paid more money, lighter trucks paid less. But I did mention to our rep that the unfair part for municipalities is every one of us municipalities has municipal solid waste collection. And when these truck tolls start back up, when the infrastructure is fixed, that's going to be an additional effective tax on everybody who throws garbage away in the town of Tiverton. So we've discussed some potential solutions for the entire state where, ideally, the state of Rhode Island would keep logs of what those tolls are and have a reimbursement to the town, because ultimately our contractor is going to pass those costs back off to us.
I'll be putting a draft in tomorrow. You can probably see it Tuesday or next Thursday.
Wonderful. And then on those 11 housing bills, will you be able to send those to us so that we can draft some resolutions in support of?
Yes.
Okay. We'll put the solicitor to work
I'll
on
need
that.
those in advance so that I can present them when I present the bills.
Wonderful. There's a couple other items too on here that I know Councilor Perry had brought up, the concept of homestead exemptions. We haven't settled on a specific workshop for that yet, Councilor Perry, but I don't know if you have any initial thoughts that you'd like to share with our state rep.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's not on. I've been working with Dave Roberts, and I think we got it finalized. It's going to be I think it's 60 to 65, 65 to 69 will be a $250 deduction on your taxes. 70 to 75 will be $350, and 75 to 80 will be $500, and that would be with a house value of under $500,000. Jay, I can get you a copy of that if you
They're
need.
really popular right now. I'm on housing and municipal government, and we've already had one in from Little Compton. We've had a couple in from Bristol, Warren area. So the people are putting them in, the various towns are. And they go really quick.
Okay.
Jennifer Boylan put in one for her town, and a week later, it was approved, and we'll have it on the floor soon.
Yeah, because we're looking to get that for the next tax session, next year's.
And the filing deadline for non-municipal bills is February 12th.
Okay.
So if you have something that's going to be statewide, it would be, I'd need to have it in before February 12th, or have it drafted by then. If it's a specific bill to Tiverton, I can put it in until the very last day of session.
Thank you.
Councilor Janick, I saw your hand up.
But I was going to.
Maybe I saw you reaching for the microphone.
You were reading my mind. So I had put in a couple of questions, and they didn't make it to the agenda, but I was looking at the governor's proposed budget, and I was wondering what your thoughts were on a couple of areas. Looking at educational increase in formula aid, increased funding for the school construction projects, mandated relief, and moving transportation, retirement, pensions, funding to the state side, and that the towns would not be responsible for those. Do you have thoughts, or like what the talk
I
is?
came from a hearing in finance, going through the minutia of the current status of the bill. So we're just kind of digesting it right now. And
I know
literally,
it's early,
We got it.
yeah.
We got it 2 weeks ago. It's been
Yeah.
14 days since we got his bill, but we're going through it. He's got some interesting concepts in there.
He does.
He's also got a couple of dogs, but we'll let those dogs lie.
Well, you see, throw it to the wall and see what sticks, and.
Yeah.
I did have another comment. I'm finding, I work in healthcare. Part of my job is doing discharge planning. It's always a challenge because people are underinsured, uninsured, and we're always trying to send people home with appropriate services. With cuts in insurance, and we're finding people are losing insurance. The Medicaid rate in Rhode Island is probably the lowest in the area, and it's hard to keep programs funded. Is there any talk about that at the state level?
We talk about it every year, but getting it up there is going to be expensive. It's just we have a very limited amount of money. I know everyone thinks we have, we have $15 billion we're working with this year. That's going to go down next year because we're spending the last of the COVID money. So you're going to see a decrease. To fund one thing in the budget, we're going to have to take money from someplace else. And it's just a matter of, where we're going to get it from. There is no
Yeah.
big bucket of dollars anywhere in the budget like it was during COVID.
Yeah. I mean, we do the same thing at the town level, so whatever we can get from the state, we can offset somewhere else in our budget, so.
One of the things I did note, currently in his budget, it's flat spending for the for the towns, cities and towns. That's level funding this year. And he proposes level funding the car tax again, the excise tax on
I
cars.
did see that, yeah.
Yeah. So we increased it last year, in the House. We'll have to see and weigh how we're going to, what we can afford to do this year. We have a lot of people looking, a lot of different entities and buckets wanting to be filled, and we have very, very limited funds. So we'll do our
understand.
best. But if you send
Thank
me
you.
something on that, I will be more than glad to take a hard look at those parts of the bill
Okay.
and mark them up.
I will do
And
that.
I look forward to your input on it as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Counselor.
Rep, one of the items that we had put forward last year, but unfortunately Senator Feelag didn't get it in time, was the enabling legislation for different tax classifications. Is that going to be put back in for us again this year? Okay.
Every piece of legislation you asked for last year, with the exception of the one that was unconstitutional, another one I thought was just never going to go anywhere, you can actually see them online as well. They've all been in. I put the last couple bills in a few days ago. So you can see them on the state site. And you can track them. But I'm expecting to get a hearing on these pretty quick. I've already had a hearing on 2 bills that were presented and passed last year, so the speaker's taking any of the low-lying fruit, and they are trying to get those right through. And you mentioned the feral cat bill. I will be representing the bill. It's been in since, I think, when you first got on the council, represent Councilor Medeiros. I put it in on behalf of the town of Tiverton. I will be putting in it again. I think this is probably, it's double-digit years since I've been putting it in, so. But it's a great piece of legislation. I just unfortunately picked a sponsor on the Senate side who has fallen out of favor, and she's falling further out of favor, so I might have to see if I can get another sponsor or maybe change the bill up a little bit. But it's passed the House every year.
Wonderful. Because the agenda is out there, and I know some people did take a look at this, just to say it publicly, there was, last year we had talked about legislation for the water districts. That, and I know Ms. French had brought this up again with the resolution that we passed last year. While it is on the agenda, this was simply just a copy and paste from last year, so there is no plan, at least from my end, to discuss anything related to the water districts, unless another counselor wanted to, had a burning desire to do so. But any other counselors have any? Counselor Burke.
Yeah, thank you, Jay. The short-term rentals, if, our solicitor's been following it, the commission that is on that, I would love to be able to see something come out of that commission that enables towns to take a more assertive approach based on our solicitor's opinion. I know you're not on that, but if something comes forward, we'd appreciate that.
I do know the lead sponsor on that and the person who's been chairing that commission. And I have spoken to the speaker a couple times about short-term rentals because they're affecting Tiverton in a very big way. And he keeps telling me, you got to wait until Lauren's commission comes up with something. Well, we've waited now for a while, so I will continue to be patient. But in the interim, I'll be pushing forward all the Tiverton legislation that I already have in hand.
One quick
Sorry.
other question. One of the charter proposals is to move the approval of budget up closer to April, sometime in April. I don't remember the dates. And part of the rationale for that is because of the notices that have to go out to teachers. I'm concerned that that's still too early in the budget process, because you still haven't gotten through enough of the budget to know any modifications that might be made to aid, specifically school aid. So I don't know if you want to give your perspective on that, but I just wanted to throw that out there.
Well, if I had my druthers, I'd say set your date for July 1st, because that's when you're guaranteed to know what the state's going to give you in all categories. We've had a number of years, I've been driving home like in midnight, and I've had either the superintendent or school committee members calling me saying, how much did we get? So, I mean, that's as late as you possibly can, understanding that July 1st is our drop dead date.
Councilor Janick.
Sorry, I skipped right over my first one. And it's about the laws that the state has passed over the last few years about building, and I understand low, moderate income housing is a huge focus in the state, but some towns are drowning more than others. We've had so many proposals before the planning board over the last couple of years that we've not really had time to test them all. They're just coming in fast and furious. We're never reaching that cap of the 10% low moderate housing, and we have over 1,000 homes, units are currently in some way in the process. Later on in our agenda, we're looking at a resolution to try to limit that and give us a little bit of relief. I've been in contact with other town councils, and they are also looking at that because we're all feeling that. The people in Tiverton are speaking very loudly. They don't want all of this development. Our infrastructure is going to have a hard time handling that. Our schools, DPW, police, fire, it's really going to be challenging, and we really don't have any recourse. The people think the planning board can say no, but you just can't say no.
Actually, the planning board can say no. I've talked to other towns, cities and towns, about this. Warren did it.
But they're in court, though.
Well, you can't be afraid to go to court. If you want to defend your position, you have to be able to defend it by going to court. So the 11 bills I have in, Councilor, all deal with housing.
Thank you.
Every single one of them.
Thank you.
You can take a look at them. There are a couple of them in there. There's one that I put in that would, as soon as the building permit is pulled, the town gets the credit for those low-income housing.
And that would be a huge help.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of them. It's the housing bills were written by people from Warwick and Providence, and they work really, really well in Warwick, Providence, Pawtucket, Central Falls, Woonsocket, Newport even. There are towns like Tiverton, Exeter, Coventry. These bills don't work well at all for us. But with tweaks, they could work. The project that is being proposed on Fish Road, I have no issues with that. Maybe you have a different opinion of it. For me, I look at that housing development is close to an area where I can get you public transportation. It's centralized. It's in your more of your suburban urban core up in the north end. You can't fight everything, but you can pick and choose the ones that you want to fight, and I will do my best to do that. But you can't fight every single one of these developments.
And I agree with you, but I think if you are a person who lives in that neighborhood, it's very personal. So we need to make it fair. And right now, we don't even have a chance to breathe from one year, and we're getting new legislation coming down at us, so.
I would expect to see more. It looks like a whole new bill. You're seeing bills come through, and they're very, very small tweaks. But they are, again, everything is geared at the cities, because they really need the housing. And then you have like towns like Tiverton, Little Compton, Coventry, those towns, we have a lot more open space, but we also have places like farms, and we don't want to have our farms sold off for developments. So that's something I am really working hard
Good.
to bring that to the speaker and the team that's really pushing hard on these housing bills. But again, I constantly point out that Tiverton has, 4 or 5 of these major developments coming in. 1 or 2 of them aren't bad. So I'm willing to acquiesce on 1 or 2 of them so that we're not just shutting every single thing down.
And I agree, but we have more than 1 or 2.
No, I said 1 or 2 that are good. We have 5 or 6 maybe out there, and they're all over the place.
They are.
I mean, and I hear from my constituents on this a lot. I had a meeting here in this room, and I heard from a lot of my constituents up about just 1 housing development. And that what really irks me as someone who's built a lot of projects. I built schools and some very minor amount of housing, but we've always been hampered by not being able to encroach on wetlands. Now these places, they're within 5 feet of wetlands with septic systems. I mean,
That's a huge
that's
concern.
that's just wrong. So that's where I am with this stuff. I am working really hard to get all of these things in. I would love to get something out from the town council to your constituents as well. I know a year ago, when one of the bills went through, we had a lot of feedback from the people in town, emailing the speaker and the chairman of the committee, and they both noticed it. So it works. Emailing me is great, but doesn't help you get your bills passed. Emailing the speaker, emailing the chairman of the committee works. And I can get the council all that information, including email addresses, so that you can follow up with all of our mutual constituents.
That would be helpful, and they will pour in letters.
They did a
They
great
will.
job,
They will.
to the point where the speaker called me one night and said, please just make them stop.
Well, you know what, just tell him to stop
That's
too.
right, and that was my response, Counselor.
So, Rep, one more item. Our administrator's not here tonight to speak on it. Unfortunately, he's sick. Hope he gets better soon. Just the flu, it's nothing crazy. But we are going to send you some information. Our assessor has identified some issues with the legislation for property tax exemptions for Gold Star families. So,
Gold Star families?
yep. So we'll make sure that the administrator passes those along to you as well. Any other counselors have any questions for our state rep? All right, well,
Chase Marina. I received a copy of a letter from the town today on that. Just be aware that Senator Felag and I used a lot of political capital to get that entity and to get the state to spend money here in Tiverton. And this would only be the 3rd state port in the state. Followed, obviously, Point Jude is a big one, and Newport is the other one. So getting a state port in Tiverton is a big deal, and we put a lot of effort into getting that here.
wonderful.
I don't think this letter is saying we don't want it, it's just saying you have to go through the planning board and.
I get that. but
All right.
We always view the state as a sovereign, and if we're going to spend money in your town, we'd like you to be a little more cooperative.
Well,
Just let me jump
yeah,
in.
go ahead.
So the level, it's been better recently, but the level of cooperation from the lead from DEM early on was negative. I mean, on a scale of 0 to 10,
Is that on the
below
Harbor
0.
Commission meeting? Because I was there.
There and
It was-
elsewhere.
It was embarrassing as your representative for Tiverton to have a board and commission treat someone who came down on their off time from the state to talk about the event, and it wasn't pretty.
Yeah, it wasn't because of him,
Well,
and because of his behaviors before that,
two
too.
different viewpoints. My viewpoint on that was it was directed from the other direction.
when they were in front of the planning board was very cordial with them and just said there's certain steps you have to take. And some of the stuff they're doing is not permitted here, so it would have to be special use. And they're very cordial with them, they just explained. They're for this, but it just has to be vetted the right way.
I just want to remind you, we did spend a lot of effort to get that
in Tiverton, so I don't want to see it go anywhere else.
Rep, thank you very much. We appreciate your time,
Thank you very much.
and we look
And
forward to
Yeah,
a
anything comes up,
partnership here.
you know, you all have my email, you all have my cell phone, so feel free to reach out.
I
Thank you.
know how to find you. Thank you. All right, next item on the agenda, appointments and resignations. We have acknowledgement of resignation, V.A. Lopes from the Planning Board effective February 1st, 2026. I'd like to entertain a motion to accept V.A. Lopes' resignation with regret.
So moved.
Second,
Motion been made by Councilor Perry, seconded by Councilor Burke. Any further discussion?
just to note, she's been an enormously positive contributor to that board. Sorry to see her have to step away.
All right. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Okay, next item on the agenda is appointment of the annual tree warden to end January 31st, 2027. We have one person requesting, I guess, reappointment is
Yes.
how it should be worded. Frankie Ramos, Manchester's Tree and Landscaping, 13 Edmund Lane. Mr. Ramos does not have to appear in front of us because this is a
He's been with
reappointment,
us a while.
and he's been with us for quite some time. I'd like to entertain a motion to reappoint Mr. Ramos.
So moved.
Second.
Motion been made by Councilor DiMadeira, seconded by Councilor Perry. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
I bet you were going to object.
All right, public hearings. We have one. This is the approval of proposed amendments to Tiverton Code of Ordinances, Chapter 10, Animals, adding sections 10-4, keeping of feral and/or backyard feeder cats, and 10-5, prohibited feeding of wildlife. Since this is a public hearing, I would like to open up the public hearing. I know Ms. Dupere would like to speak. Is it Dupere or? Dupere. Okay, perfect. I butchered it first, and then you have somebody else you're speaking on behalf of as well.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, take it away.
so-
Name and address for the record, please, and then it's all yours.
Pardon?
I said name and address for the record, and then
Oh,
the
my
floor is
address?
yours. Yeah,
4230 Main Road, Tiverton.
Thank you.
I'm not sure about Kim's. Okay, so my first question is, who drafted this ordinance? Who, okay. All right. What was the basis of the ordinance?
Sorry, the basis, my name is Michael Marcello, by the way. The basis of the ordinance was a request that came from the animal control officer in the police department. And there's also state law that kind of mirrors what that is. So the department asked me to draft the ordinance
Okay,
through the animal control officer.
okay, but for what reason?
You'll have to ask them. I don't get involved into the what or why. They asked me to draft an ordinance, and I do what I'm told because that's my client wanted, so.
Thankfully, we have the chief and the animal control officer here, so I'm sure they'd be more than happy to address your
Okay, so
question.
what is the problem? Hey,
Hi, it's nice to meet you. I don't think I've met you in person.
yeah,
My name's Tori. I'm the animal control officer here in town.
okay, okay, yeah,
So
nice
the
to meet
whole
you.
reason this has come up
Can you use the mic?
Oh,
is,
Chief, can you push the mic?
oh, sorry,
Yeah, just speak. Yeah.
sorry. So essentially what I was finding happening, I've been the animal control officer for the last 2 years. I'm currently working in my 3rd year. Is we don't have any current town ordinances addressing feral cats, outdoor cats, cats in general. It doesn't matter what kind, we have nothing on the books.
But why do we need one?
Because feral cats, outdoor cats, and any cats need general care, whether that's rabies, spay neuter, Bordetella. That's not required by the state as of right now, but it is important.
But are you offering
So,
people a resource?
Ms.
Yes.
Ms. Dupere, just to point of clarification, your remarks should be addressed to the council for the public
Oh,
hearing. And it's not technically a cross-examination of the animal control officer, so if you'd like to shoot off, just run. Yeah, if you'd like to run through your questions, and then we can make sure that the animal control officer provides some,
Okay.
backup for you.
Okay, go ahead. So you were,
So we do offer resources. I do host an annual rabies clinic every year here in town. We will be having our 3rd annual one actually on March 14th. Advertisement for it should start shortly. As well as our contracted partner, the Potter League, offers a low-cost spay and neuter clinic as well. It's out in Warwick. Their main shelter in Middletown, which we use, does offer community appointments and walk-in appointments. If you need a rabies shot that day, you can walk in and get a rabies shot that day. As well as the town of Tiverton does loan out traps. I actually have all of my traps out on loan right now to members of the community. I also do connect people with our 501c3 resources that we work with, such as 10 Lives, Paws Watch, and some independent rescuers that I work with, and that I know just from being out in the town, Kim Shea being one of them, and quite a few others that I don't want to bring up, by name, because they're not here. So I do offer resources. The importance of taking this town ordinance, and I would like to make it extremely clear that this does not prohibit feeding cats in any way, shape, or form. All this is stating that is if you are feeding this cat for over 60 days, it is the owner's responsibility to get it vaccinated for rabies and get it spayed and neutered. And I understand that.
At their expense.
I understand that there is an issue with expense, which is why I do work with these 501c3 organizations, as well as our contracted shelter, who very graciously donates their own money to help cats, because they understand that the town of Tiverton needs assistance sometimes, and we don't have that contract with them.
So if I can just add a little bit to that. So Tori has done a fantastic job as our animal control officer. She works very well with all the community and answers questions to pretty much everybody who comes in that door. So we're very proud to have her. The first part of this is trying to have a tool in our toolbox, because we're having problems with people who are feeding these cats, and then they call her to say, I need you to take care of it now. This is your problem to address after they've been feeding or taking care of these cats long term. But they've gotten so many that it gets out of control. So this is a tool in the toolbox to work with these people to try and say, if you're taking care of these animals, you have to be responsible for them. If you're taking that accountability, it has to go that next step further. But it does not say that you can't feed them, it doesn't say you can't take care of them, but you have to go by these things to address it, whether it's spay, neuter, and whatever else is addressed in here. So it's just a tool in the toolbox. By no means are we gonna be hiding in the bushes here, walking around at night saying, who left out cat food or who did this.
No
Yeah,
killings? That was one of my
that's not
questions, and I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen. But we need to have something here so we can correct the problem when it does arise. And I think this just gives her the opportunity to do that. And then it gives us the opportunity to put it, if it becomes an ongoing problem for somebody. Not just a one-time contact with Tori went and spoke with someone and said, hey, let us help you here, let us fix this. But if it keeps continuing and the problem keeps growing, it lets her put this in front of the municipal court so we can have some kind of resolution and work with people to get this resolved.
But, okay,
Good night, guys.
all right. All right, so in that situation where you have someone that's, a repeat offender, so to speak, what would the punishment be? Would
So-
the cats be taken away and
I would also just like
euthanized?
to clarify that, because I do come up, see these issues a lot of time, a lot of it is not repeat offenders. A lot of it is a lack of education issue, and the first step in most of my animal investigations starts with education rather than enforcement. If it gets to the point where I have an independent trapper that's willing to help this person and they just don't accept the help, that's where the issue has kind of started to become. Most people want to take care of the animals outside. They want to feed them. They want to see them healthy and thrive, as do I. But there is the 10% of people that just don't want the help. And this is where I can take it to municipal court, and the court can say, or not say, you never know, you need to get this cat help. Here's this woman volunteering to help you. Let her help.
And we also have a responsibility here to the neighbors who are having to deal with this problem, where someone's feeding multiple cats and they have 10, 15, 20 cats in their backyard trying to put up these shelters, and it's causing problems for the neighbors. So again, a tool in the toolbox to help us address these issues when they come up.
But are there really that many people that have 15 and 20 cats in their
Yes.
yard?
Yes.
I have not just outdoor cats. I've dealt with my fair share of hoarding cases. The town of
Hoarding
Tiverton
is different. Hoarding is.
It is different,
yeah.
but people, not only outside, inside as well, do collect animals. The town of Tiverton is good for a good 2 to 3 hoarding cases, whether that's inside, outside, or just inside. We're good for it. And again, just another tool in the toolbox. While I can use the Rhode Island General Law for hoarding, sometimes it's not to that scale where it needs to go to district court. Sometimes it's just a smaller problem that I can address within municipal court rather than district.
So this is different Okay, let me tell you my personal experience with feral cats, okay? I had a situation where a mother cat had kittens on my property, and I called the animal control officer to seek assistance, okay? And I was told that the town of Tiverton doesn't deal with cats, okay?
Because we have nothing on the books as of right now. I have nothing
But you
to
just sat there and
enforce.
you just said that
It de-
you are a ready resource that can provide
We
the
can provide
necessary.
assistance. We can get guidance. We have other resources outside of the town of Tiverton that she'll use, whether that's the Rhode Island RSPCA, other agencies that we're willing to use. But she's telling you we don't handle cats. We have zero budget or line item to handle feral cats or that problem.
Okay, so let me,
We don't take cats into the town of Tiverton. We don't handle cats like
Okay.
we do dogs.
okay, so I'd like to address this to the council then. With that said, you can't pass an ordinance demanding that people comply to things, such as, you know, at their own expense, getting them spayed or neutered, which is written in the bill, or the ordinance right there. You can't pass an ordinance unless you have resources for people. You're saying in one breath that there's resources, but yet you're saying in another breath that the town of Tiverton doesn't want anything to do with cats, doesn't have any funding for it, doesn't have a shelter for it. So that's the elephant in the room here. That's what needs to be addressed. The town of Tiverton, maybe we should establish some kind of trap, neuter, release program where, you know, our taxes fund some kind of trap, neuter, release program. A shelter, you know, it's right here in town. We have Amanda's Cat Cafe, or the Baja's Cat Cafe, okay? She's, you know, in the process of getting the necessary permits. I mean, she underwent a lot of abuse. She was traumatized, and, you know, that whole thing was shut down. We had it right there at our fingertips, right in our own town, with our own small business, and she was penalized for that.
So, can I
So-
answer that question?
Why couldn't our tax,
Yes.
Public hearing.
We need to keep, we just need,
Yeah.
this is a public hearing on the ordinance before you. If you believe it's a good ordinance, you'd like to hear the reasons why. If you believe it's a bad ordinance, tell us why. If you have, but keep it, just keep the focus on that. It's a public hearing on the ordinance before you.
okay, I understand that. But you know what, I'm a taxpayer,
I understand.
okay? And
But we
I'm here
have
on
to follow-
behalf,
We have to follow
of-
the rules of the open meetings law, all that stuff. It's a
Okay.
public hearing on this ordinance.
okay. So, we have our own resource right in town, where our tax dollars, maybe we should set something up where some of our tax dollars help to fund the Baja's Cat Cafe, so she can come to a person's house, trap, neuter, release, and then determine if the cat is adoptable, and then possibly be, you know, adopted out, okay? It's right there, okay? So maybe that should be considered, instead of, you know, our tax dollars going towards, you know, paying an ACO to peruse the neighborhood, see which cats have clipped ears. But the
So,
trap, neuter,
John,
release,
can I-
I'm
can I-
all for spaying and neutering, okay, 100%.
No, I just have a question for Tori. Like, this, with this law that we're trying to enact, am I wrong by saying this is already state law?
No, you are not, I have a copy of it.
Right.
Right in front of me.
So this isn't nothing really new?
No,
but-
this is something I already speak about, and the
Right.
chances are, if you haven't heard about it, it's because I haven't spoken to you about it, because I haven't had an issue
Right.
with you. I already speak about it. Most of the time, once I educate, it's a non-issue. They understand. I'm able to refer people out to other resources
So,
and get the issue under
so
control.
all you're looking to do, so you still have the same avenue with the state law?
Yes.
If we had all these problems, but you would have to bring it to district court?
Yes.
So you're trying to enact the same the same law that the state is using, but just at a Tiverton level, so we're not going to district court, we can handle it at the municipal level,
Yes.
which could probably give you, I don't know if this is the right word, but some more leeway to work with,
I think that's exactly the right word.
Yes.
give you some more leeway to work with in our own municipal court with a person having issues or problems. So you can suggest, hey, I have somebody that can help you if you're willing to do X, Y, and Z. So we're trying to, this is a law that's already in place, and we're trying to take it out of the state's hand and bring it to municipal level, so she has the tools that she needs if there is a problem with excess, if somebody has 25 cats, or somebody, if there's a real problem. When you make the statement that the police department doesn't want to help or is all over, I think what they're really saying is that they don't have a need, they don't have a way to physically take the cat themselves and get it spayed, neutered, or handled. So they have to use the laws to get the person who is feeding the cat to get that taken care of. We don't have a budget like you're asking for. We just unfortunately don't have a budget for Tory to pick up a cat and say, I'm gonna take care of this problem myself, and I'm gonna bring the cat back. We don't have that.
But then you're expecting the people feeding the cat, what about the elderly couple that's on a fixed income? You're expecting them
we're
to
not.
trap, neuter, release? I did it, it's very
Right,
involved.
so when there's an issue, and I think that clearly speaking, if there's an extreme issue, like I think the chief and the animal control officer just said that they're not driving around town looking for issues, but if that issue arises, they have an avenue to help
Okay,
that
fair
particular person. They're not gonna close the door on them, they're gonna help them and lead them in the right direction. And if it gets to the court situation, they can help again once it's in court, but we're not at district court, we're in the town of Tiverton handling the situation.
But my-
That's my outtake on
Okay,
it.
but
Because I'll be
my-
honest with you, I was against this entire thing until I heard her speak tonight on her plan on how to put this forward. I was really against it because I thought people had the right to feed cats and help cats. But now I understand the way she's going about this. I don't think she's just gonna close the door on anybody. I really truly believe she wants to help. And the key to me was, I'm gonna educate first. So if you can have 10, 15 minutes with somebody and she's helping educate and they understand that, I think the problem goes away. And
But I thought she was already doing that. I don't understand what the problem is. Are
So,
people resisting?
just, if we can bring this all back together, because it's kind of going off the rails here. Ms. Dupere, do you have anything else you'd like to address the council on this specific ordinance, as the solicitor said, whether you're for it or against it and the reasons why? Rather than us have a circular back and forth and various council
I'm
members
against it the way
responding.
that it's written.
Okay.
Okay? I think it's very scary, the way that it's written, okay? You're making people think that, you better comply to this, or we're gonna remove your cats, okay? Or you better comply to this, and you have to, get the animal spayed or neutered and vaccinated at your expense, which good luck trying to find a veterinarian. It's hard enough, trap, neuter, release, okay? And there's a process involved with trap, neuter, release. It's not as simple as you think. So, I think that maybe the ordinance needs to be, maybe we should put it on hold for a little bit and talk about how we should put it together and word it properly so that it doesn't scare people, it doesn't deter people. I mean, the way that it's written, no offense, but it's actually an embarrassment to this town, the way that it's written. And it's actually a deterrent to the town, the way that it's written. Who wants to come to a town that, doesn't care about people that are being compassionate and taking care of their cats? Yes, I'm all for spaying and neutering, 100%. I've seen it with my own two eyes, what happens, all right, when they're not. And there should be something for that, but I'm not real sure if we need to have, more laws. It sounds like you're doing a great job as it is. I don't understand what the problem is.
Thank you.
So, I'm against it.
Okay. Thank
I
you.
think it needs to be rewritten, and I think that our town should really consider creating some kind of fund that helps so that we do have a resource right here in our town. Why are we going to overburden Paws Watch, 10 Lives Cat Rescue, Scruffy Paws, ASPCA, Rhode Island Spay Neuter? They're already burdened. We're going to just start burdening them more? We should have our own. We should absolutely have our own trap, neuter, release program here in this town.
Are
Thank
those
you.
not resources, though? Everything you just mentioned, is that
They are
not a
resources, but they're
resource?
already overburdened. So, and they're funded entirely, by donation and fundraisers. So why can't we do that as a town?
Thank you.
Okay.
Any of the members of the public like to speak on the proposed ordinance? Oh, Ms. French, I had a feeling.
I live at Craig Avenue. There's already the state law. Now, the Attorney General's office has told me that enforcement of state law is a selective process that any municipality can selectively choose to enforce at any time. So if we wish to enforce this state law, we can. When I posted this on Facebook, the ordinance, there was immediately more than 100 responses. 2 people were for the ordinance. The rest of the people basically said, Tiverton has no heart. This was very, very much. People just don't understand what the problem is, and they don't understand why we don't, if there's such a problem, most people already do the vetting, but the vets are very expensive here. And I don't understand why we don't have some kind of an agreement with a vet in order to have inexpensive spay and neuter clinics for the animals. This is what we do, and other communities do this. When I lived in Tucson, our neighborhood was the first neighborhood that put together a trap and release spay and neuter. And we got money from our neighborhood, and we arranged with a vet, and we went and we released all the cats back into the area where they came from. And when you do that, the numbers very quickly reduce down because an outside cat has an average lifespan of less than 7 years. But a lot of cats wish to live outside as well. Cats choose to live where they do. If cats want to live in a house with people, they will adopt you. If they wish to live outside, they will live outside. And they will leave sometimes very nice homes to go live outside because that's what they want to do. And it's just, I just don't see what the problem is. We have all these other issues, and all of a sudden it's like, let's pick on the cats. And it just seems kind of a silly thing. Just like the wildlife, feeding wildlife. Well, most people know not, so feeding wildlife. So if I plant hostas in my yard and the deer come and eat them, am I feeding wildlife? No. But we all know that hostas feed wildlife. We all know that. We all know that if you plant hostas, you're going to have deer come into your yard and eat them. We all know that if you plant clover, the deer will kind of come in and eat it. If we plant, in fact, we should be planting in order to feed our wildlife. We should be planting more native species plants that are adaptable and perfect for this area that feed our wildlife because they don't have enough to eat sometimes. And with the development, it would be nice if our homes became gardens for the wildlife. And I'm not saying that you go out and buy them a sack of corn, but native planting, we think that we should feed the birds with native plants, and we think we should feed pollinators with native plants. In fact, the library has a native.
Ms. French, if we could bring it back to the feral cats, please.
Well, yeah, but the feral cat is / feeding wildlife. That's on the ordinance as well. Unless you're going to have a separate talk on that, that is part of the same ordinance and part of the public hearing is feeding wildlife. And the native, as we destroy their habitats, the library, our library here, does a seed share. And I did that before I came to this meeting tonight. I went over and was able to have 19 free packets of seeds
Ms. French,
that, that feed
there's-
wildlife.
we're not-
So is
we're not
the
discussing-
library-
that's unfortunately, that
if you
testimony has
read
no
the
bearing on the ordinance.
Then the ordinance is not clear, because the ordinance says that we cannot
If-
feed wildlife.
So if I
Mr.
may,
President, can I just say one thing? Based on the ordinance that's in front of us, there is an exclusion. The keeping of feed that is naturally growing grain, fruit, or vegetable material, including gardens and residue from lawns, gardens, and other vegetable materials maintained as a mulch pile, is not a violation of this section. So there is an exclusion for the things that Ms. French is describing.
So then what are we talking about for the feeding?
So that's a good question. Ms. French, if you'll allow me. A few minutes ago, you said something about a catch and release program. We take care of the catch, we catch, we spay, and we release, and it's a great program.
Yes.
This ordinance, already allowed to, permitted by law, will allow the animal control officer to help and enforce somebody that might not want to cooperate with that fantastic program you're talking about. So if they have a homeowner that doesn't want to cooperate with a catch, spay, and release to control the population and help control disease, she has a tool.
But she already has that tool by the state law. That
So
tool
let me
already
ask you a question.
exists.
Does town ordinance supersede state law?
What?
Does town ordinance supersede state law?
But it's, why do we need another? The state law already exists on this. And if the officer wishes to enforce the state law, she is able to. So if she doesn't,
so I
we
think-
don't need.
Difference is municipal court or district court. That's the difference.
But are we actually going to be taking people to court for feeding cats?
I doubt it because she wants to.
So I would say, I absolutely hope.
I hope not too. I mean,
That is the last thing that this police department.
Can you see the judge?
It is the last thing that the animal control officer wants to do. But again, when we have a problem that continues to grow, we need to have a pathway to correct it.
but is it a growing problem? I mean, is it literally a growing problem?
At times it is. So I would think that by passing something like this and putting it in front of our municipal court judge, it has a more personal feel for us to take care of it on a local level to try to address that. I don't feel that this matter is I don't even think it will be addressed, and correct me if I'm wrong, sir, in district court. So I think that trying to handle this on a local level is the best opportunity to correct it. And I think it would give us that hometown feel that you're looking for, without a budget or anything that was mentioned earlier, to have those resources to try and fix this problem the best way we can right now.
But I don't think this is fixing the problem. I think it's creating a problem. I just
never gonna be
don't think
quiet.
that there is a problem. I just don't
well-
understand why we're going to go after
So,
people.
before we,
How many phone calls a year do we get on cats?
before this devolves, Ms. French, so you're opposed to the ordinance
I am
as written?
opposed to the ordinance.
Okay, and you're opposed to the ordinance as written for a number of different reasons, as you've already outlined.
Just the whole, yes, the whole.
I'd just like to keep us
the whole-
on track here, that's all.
Right. I think there's other ways to go about this, and this is creating more laws. We're having more laws. Next, we're going to have laws on roosters and laws on chickens and laws on livestock. We're going to make Tiverton into the sterile place where nothing wants to, nothing wants to live. I mean, it just seems wrong to me.
Thank you.
We're number one in these areas that we shouldn't be number one in. And are we going to be number one in the taking down of the cat, I mean, cats do control rodents, right? If we get rid of feral cats, then what are we going to do about the rodents?
Miss-
It's going to be,
Miss
well, we have a
French?
rodent problem, because we don't have enough cats.
Ms. French thank you. I think we've gotten the point, thank you.
May I add one more?
Yes,
So, again, however you decide to rule on this, I would just like to make sure that the public understands that we are pro-animals, animal rights. The animal control officer does a fantastic job at that. And I know that there has been comments to say that we're trying to stop this problem or we're trying to eliminate this cat problem. That's just not the case. This is a police department that actually adopted a cat that we brought in and stays with us at the police station. It has his own dedicated police badge. We are far,
Does
far
Blue
and
fight with that?
They fight over food.
Yeah,
But
they get
we're-
along though.
We're far and away looking to say that, or the comments that were made against the animal control officer, that we're trying to create a problem that we hate animals. That's just not true, and that's just noise.
Does that cat get a pension?
I hope not.
Does that cat get a pension?
Partially.
All right, any other members of the public like to speak on this ordinance? Any other members of the public? Any other members of the public? All right, I'd now like to close the public hearing. Councilor Burke.
Tori, I want to thank you for your good work, and Chief, for bringing this to our attention. I think one of the things you're trying to do here is actually, when I'm looking at one part of state law, which is the permit program for cats.
Yes.
In that program, it says that a person only has 30 days to comply. The draft ordinance gives the person 60 days to comply, correct?
60 days from the date you start feeding the cat is when you would be considered the owner. I could read right off of it from you. Looking at chapter 24, chapter 4-24, subsection 3, spaying and neutering, point C, states, any person providing care or sustenance for an uninterrupted period of 60 days or longer shall be deemed the owner of such animal and shall adhere to the provision of this chapter.
Right. So,
It's under the same
right, so,
chapter.
right, but your decrease, okay, that's 60, I got it. Later on, though, they have 30 days to comply
Yes,
after it's been identified.
yes,
But it's also, I would have to pay $100 for each cat
yes, according
Okay.
to state law.
under state law. This, you don't have to.
No,
Okay.
the penalties would be section 10-3 in our town ordinance, which is $25 first offense, 50 second offense, 100 third and on.
And the penalties under state law are $75 for each 30 days the animal's not spayed or neutered.
Yes,
So if I wait a year, that's 70, well, let's say 10 months, it's easier, that's $750.
yes,
Here, it's not that.
yes,
The ordinance that is before us to consider tonight.
yes.
Okay, thank you.
To clear, under section 10.3, the first offense is actually a warning.
Right. And again, I think we are very lenient, you are very lenient with the use of warnings to
Yes.
people. It's not even a warning, it's how can I help?
Yes.
Councilor Camino.
Okay, Tori, once again, thank you. Like I said a few minutes ago, at first I was against this ordinance, but listening to you talk, I have confidence in the way you're going to handle these different types of situations. It doesn't sound like you're just going to go out there and all of a sudden, cause people to have their cats spayed, neutered, and take them and whatever. I don't see that happening at all. And the second part of this is, I think Jamie had brought it up, but I keep hearing that, we have more important problems in Tiverton, and we should be looking at other things, and we shouldn't be listening to cat problems. But what we're doing as a council up here right now is we're listening to one of our employees who's trying to find a tool to make things better for our constituents out in town, and we're trying to support her and the police department on fixing the situation. So it's not that we're sitting here thinking about how we can ruin somebody's life with cats. We're up here trying to support our police department and our animal control officer on some ideas on how to fix a problem. And then the next thing that I'll say is we keep asking, is there really a problem? Well, I don't sit at home and think about the cat problems, and I'm sure a lot of our constituents don't sit home and think about the cat problems. But I'm sure on a daily basis, or at least on a weekly basis, our animal control officer is getting these phone calls, and she's looking for a tool to help people and educate first, like she said, and make this a positive thing. I don't think we're out here to ruin. anybody's,
With all due respect, Ms. Dupere, this is Councilor
I don't think
Perry-
she's out here to
Committal's
ruin
time.
anybody's, humane to take care of an animal, take care of a cat. I mean, I'm the first one to take care of a stray, bring a stray in. And I gotta be honest with you, I know the police chief pretty well, and I think he'd be right behind me on taking care of a stray animal. So I don't think that, I think we're reading way too deep into this. I think we need to give Tori the tools she needs to be able to help the public. And again, her first statement on all of this was educate first, give warning, warning, warning. And if somebody at some point, after we've had warnings, we've given them the avenue to go down and to help, then she has to be forceful and come with a fine or bring her in front of a court system. And once it gets in front of the court, we're not even saying that, the judge could decide either way. But if you're having 2, 3, 4 chances of fixing a problem, and she needs a tool to say, hey, I'm serious about this, you really haven't complied, I've been out here 5, 6, 7 times. Now we're wasting our resources because she can't do the job she needs to do because we're dealing with that same complaint over and over and over again. So, like I said, I wasn't supporting this in the beginning. After hearing her talk, I am in full support of this, and I hope our council supports it, and I wish you the best of luck with it.
Thank you.
Any other councilors like to speak on this issue? Councilor Janick?
Thank you, Tori and Chief. I think that we also need to remember that it's not just the cats, but it's the people in the neighborhood, too. So if you do have a nuisance in a neighborhood because of a multitude of cats or whatever animals that are creating noise, smell, whatever problems, that this will help that too, because it's not just the person feeding the cats, but it's the neighbors who live around too. And we need to protect all of our residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other councilors like to speak on this, or do we have a motion from the council? Councilor Burke?
I make a motion to approve, you just go to the agenda. Approve Tiverton Code of Ordinances, Chapter 10, Animals, adding sections 10-4, keeping of feral and/or backyard feeder cats, and 10-5, prohibiting feeding of wildlife.
Motion been made, seconded by Councilor Perry and Councilor Committo. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Okay, unanimous. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Should I shut this off?
Thank you, Tori.
Oh, no, make this off?
Yeah, would you like some donut? Chief, don't you need some donut?
I don't know if I shut this off, but I'm sorry.
If the light isn't red, you're fine.
But I will tell you, I usually don't pass them.
All right, next item on the agenda is council acting as Board of Licensing, Arthur Brown, 76 Robin Drive, requesting renewal of private detective license subject to meeting all legal requirements. This is a renewal, so Mr. Brown was not asked to come in front of us. Do we have a motion on Mr. Brown's license? Councilor DiMederos?
Yep, so be it.
So be it.
So be it.
Do I have a second? Motion is seconded by Councilor Burke. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Okay, congratulations to Mr. Brown. Next item on the agenda, Allison Murphy, B Green Kids Consignments Incorporated. Requests approval of a special event permit for B Green Kids Consignment Sale event at Longplex Family and Sports Center, April 30th, 2026 through May 4th, 2026, from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., subject to meeting all legal requirements. Is Ms. Murphy present? Counselor, sorry, Madam Clerk.
Mr. President, I did hear from Allison. She had recent surgery and was not able to make it. But she said everything is the same as previous years, no changes.
Okay, do we have a motion?
I'll make
from
the motion. But I do want to say something, too. All the following requests is like we had asked Longplex customers to do if they wanted to have these events, to at least tell us way in advance. And I want to say thank you to everyone and that the word got out, because this is the way it should be. Thank you.
Okay, motion been made by Councilor DiMederos, seconded by Councilor Paul. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? None opposed. Next item on the agenda, Allison Murphy again. B Green Kids Consignments, approval of a special event permit for B Green Kids Consignment Sale event at Longplex Family and Sports Center on September 30th, 2026 through October 4th, 2026 from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. subject to meeting all legal requirements. Councilor DiMederos, would you like to make the motion?
Yes, I make motion.
Seconded by Councilor Paul. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Take the Annie together.
All right, yes, the next two items are Joe Souza Retro Expo, request approval of special event permit for Retro Expo at Longplex Family and Sports Center, April 4th, 2026, from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., and September 5th from 2026, from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., subject to meeting all legal requirements. Motion been made by Councilor Perry, do I have a second? Seconded by Councilor Paul. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Okay. Next item on the agenda, Pine House Kitchen and Bar, 13 Crandall Road, request for change of hours from Monday to Sunday, 11 a.m. to 12 a.m., and Monday to Sunday, 6 a.m. to 1 a.m. This is continued from our November 24th meeting. Is the applicant here? Okay. Councilor Burke's gonna go find him.
What?
Is the applicant here?
Yeah.
By all means, the chief's coming, so come on up if you'd like. Appreciate you making the time to come this evening. When we had done the initial license renewal, the council felt that they would like to speak with you before approving this change. And I know Councilor Burke had some questions, so I'm happy to defer to any member of the council, or actually the applicant, if you'd like to just give us a brief overview of your requested change.
What? I didn't hear that, sorry about that.
Sorry, your requested change, the reason for the hours change.
Oh, just to maximize profits.
It's a fairly straightforward answer.
Do what I can to stay open.
Councilor Camino.
So, may I, John?
Yes.
Okay, so I just need a little more than maximizing profits. What are the plans for the early hours? Is like, what?
So the early on would be breakfast, so
There
I'd
we
be
go.
starting breakfast as far as the early on, but in the later on in the night, it would just be to continue maximizing profits as we're cleaning up. Sometimes we're there till 3 or 4 in the morning anyways, mopping the floors and cleaning up. So, just to continue serving and maximize what we can to be able to gross what I can to stay open. Like the breakfast idea is the same way. It's hard, taxes a lot, food costs is a lot, things like that's a lot of money, so I'm thinking about doing breakfast maybe Thursday till Sunday, and kind of venture off and do that as well.
So you're asking for hours to be open earlier from 6 a.m., right? But you just stated that you're thinking about breakfast, so are you gonna do breakfast? Because there's no reason to be open at 6 a.m. if you're not doing breakfast.
Well, this is a big factor, so if I get the okay to serve liquor, then that's gonna determine whether I open breakfast
At
or not.
6 a.m.?
I'm
They do it in
confused.
Fall River.
Not intuitive, though.
Thank you.
This is a BV license, so you cannot serve liquor without serving food at the same time.
Right.
So you can't say, I want to be open at 6 a.m. and just serve a mimosa. You have to have a mimosa with
Eggs
French
and
toast,
bacon,
yeah.
yeah.
So,
But can you still serve at 6 even? Do most of our facilities do that?
There is one in town.
There is one
Yeah, there's one in town that they sell to-go liquor at 6 a.m.
to-go liquor?
To-go liquor even at 6 a.m.
Well, they're not supposed to be serving any to-go liquor, so.
Councilor Camino, please continue.
So you want to stay open, you want to open at 6 a.m. and stay open till 1 a.m. to maximize, but it's more so to sell alcohol, not so much
No.
the breakfast.
No, not at all. 100% breakfast, food. Alcohol profits is a lot more than food. So to open up a breakfast place without alcohol, it's, that just doesn't make sense as far as the profits. It's to maximize the profits within my real estate. If I could sell alcohol, if I have the right to, then I'd be maximizing my profits. Let's just say, I guess it wouldn't be worth it without the alcohol.
What kind of alcohol do you serve for breakfast?
Mimosas, Bloody Marys, screwdriver. It's really only 3 drinks.
Yeah, but if somebody wanted something else, they could get something
Yeah,
else.
yeah.
Couple of
Yeah,
Budweisers
I'm
and a
not
few
gonna,
eggs.
I'm not looking at, yeah.
I'm just, I'll be honest with you, I'm confused about your explanation, and so if I had a business like yours, and I think I want to maximize profits, I would be open for breakfast. I understand the law and the liquor license lets us, but I guess I'm just having a hard time understanding your explanation.
No, well, no. Well, at 11 o'clock. Only at 11 o'clock, though.
He could,
Yeah,
he
but
could
his-
serve breakfast and toast at
Yeah,
6
but his
a.m. if he
present
wants,
hours are 11 a.m. to 12 a.m.
for the liquor license.
But are you open now?
No, not at the moment. Those are my hours at the moment.
All right.
But if he chooses to be, he can just have breakfast. He can,
Yes.
tomorrow morning,
Yes.
he can open at 5 a.m. and have breakfast.
Yes.
Correct?
Not with liquor.
Not without liquor? Correct. So you haven't attempted that yet, right?
No,
Why?
because it wouldn't be worth it. If I open up with alcohol, then it's worth it. That's like opening my restaurant right now and to say, hey, Jared, do you want to open a restaurant without a liquor license?
But this
I
is,
just wouldn't do it. It just doesn't make sense. Most
this-
restaurants stay open or able to stay open because of liquor sales. When I sell a pizza and a beer, I make a lot more money off the beer than I do off the pizza.
I agree with that.
So,
I just don't understand. Breakfast and alcohol is not,
I just want to be able to sell anything that I can to have the rights within the hours that like, I want it to match the state. So that's why I put that, the time, like I said, but then you guys supersede it. So that's, if you guys say, hey, you can start serving liquor at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, then I'll make my decision on whether I'm going to do breakfast or not. I put 6 o'clock just because that's what the state law says. So I wanted just to make it like the state law, just kind of simple for everybody to understand, for myself as well. And then, like I said, I mean, I maximize my profits. Like I sell, there's a reason I sell my pickles, or I sell my hot sauce, or we sell gift cards, or we sell everything. I try to sell as much within the doors as possible. So if I can sell alcohol at Pine House during breakfast, then I'd want to. I'm gonna have to be there anyways. I have a bartender, I have the liquor, I have the stock. Why, the only thing that I'm being handcuffed is to be able to sell it. So I would like to be able to sell it if it's sitting on a shelf for me able to maximize my profits. That's what it all comes down to. I'm not gonna,
Mr. President,
Councilor Perry, then Councilor Burke, I believe, would like to speak.
I know a few people who own restaurants, and they tell me the biggest moneymaker is breakfast, and they don't serve liquor. You buy a dozen of eggs for $2.99, you sell them for $2.50 a piece. You're making a ton of money. You buy a loaf of bread for $1.39, you're selling each slice for $1 something. So your biggest moneymaker is breakfast. And you're trying to tell me that you need liquor plus the breakfast?
I'm not telling you, I'm
I
just
don't
saying
think
what I
so.
want. That's
I
what
don't think so.
I'm just saying that's what I would like to maximize my profits. Like I said, if I have it, okay. I mean, that's why I said if it's a no, it's a no. I'm not looking to argue. I'm not looking to go back and forth. I'm a law-abiding citizen. Like when Officer visited me in the beginning, he said there's a bunch of punks that come here, just keep an eye out. We don't want no problems like that. I said I don't want no problems at all. That's the least I want. I want to serve food. It's going to be a family environment. Kids come here, everything. I mean, I'm just max. I don't know how that doesn't make sense, how it's clear. If you can sell more things within an establishment and you have them already, as a business person, I just don't know how to explain why wouldn't you want to. I'm not looking to get people, ruined before noon, and then that's my plan. That's not my plan. It's they go in for their birthday. It's a 70-year-old birthday party. They go in for breakfast, whatever, and grandma sits down, has a mimosas with some pancakes, and leaves. I barely drink myself. It's not like I'm looking at everybody, get everybody smashed and have issues. That's it.
Mike, do you want to say, I want to talk about
Maximizing profits. That's the main thing that comes back to. Stay open. Taxes is tough. Snow, whatever. You can trash, it's crazy.
Okay, a couple of things. One is, I'm in agreement with my fellow counselor, Mr. Perry. Not that I like McDonald's, but McDonald's makes lots of money on breakfast, and they don't have alcohol. So I think your argument about the alcohol is specious.
Yeah, you can't
You
compare
want to do it,
McDonald's.
I understand that. I think it's specious. The other piece that sits with me is the last time you were before us, and you're a little bit that way now, is you become very argumentative when people point things out that are of concern by the neighbors or the police or others. To me, that's not a good community business person or family business person. So, Chief, what, if any, situations have been happening there recently with your folks?
So we haven't been there in several months. I had requested that offices. Are we good?
I just want to make sure
Closer,
that
bring it
the
closer.
folks at home can hear what you're
Bring
saying.
it closer to you, Chief.
We have not been there in several months, and officers have been advised to go and check the business. We had a check back in, a compliance check. I had it right here in front of me. Well, within the last few months, and everything seemed to be in order, so we haven't had any issues there. But I have had some concerns in the complaints that we handled in the past. Some of them were the loud music complaints that we're aware of, that was spoke about in past council meetings, where we had responded there for loud music. The windows were open. Officers addressed this with Mr. Machado, and he decided to go over to one of the windows and start yelling obscenities out the window. Again, I don't feel that that's a good business model to start engaging in neighbors at that time of night. We also had an issue with the time he was closing. He is closing by his hours at midnight, but he was staying open past that. He thought that he could stay open past that. He was reminded that he could not, and becomes standoffish, is how I'll put that. But we've kind of rectified that, I hope. Some of the complaints that we've gone over there too, I don't believe were Mr. Machado's problem. They happened out in the parking lot, or they happened out on Crandall Road, and those things are beyond his control. And so I'm aware of that, and I would like to make sure that I'm recognizing that leniency when we're speaking about it. But those people were leaving that establishment, and that's just a fact of what's happening when they upset the rest of the neighborhood. To go to one of his points about an officer visited the restaurant and said that there's punks that come here. The officer that he's talking about was me. So I was the deputy chief back then. I know that the problems that existed with the restaurant prior to that. I wanted to go over there and welcome his business in. I knew that they were going to be serving alcohol there, and I voiced my concerns to him. I don't recall using the word punks, but it is what it is. I did tell him about other businesses in the area, how things were managed there. I did tell him of our concerns, so I did visit him. I tried to get ahead of this before we had these kind of problems. But I'm aware that when you have a restaurant that serves alcohol in a bar, we're going to have some problems there. We're going to get calls for service. So that's where we are as far as complaints that are there. I am a little concerned about when we respond there and Mr. Machado's attitude towards police officers. I believe that in one of the reports that were here, the sergeant who handled that, who's got 20 years on the job, felt that Mr. Machado was under the influence when he spoke to him. So I'm concerned about that when we're running a business, and then the person we have to go there to deal with, to correct matters, is intoxicated. So those are my concerns.
Councilor Janick.
So
They're saying it.
you're requesting to stay open until 1 AM. What are your plans? Would you be serving food at that time?
Appetizers, yes.
Appetizers?
Yeah, so
Does that
wings, crab
meets
dip,
the
chips.
letter of the law?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm aware of that law, so I always, even now, if anybody's drinking and they want food, I always offer food.
Okay. So that's 1 AM every night of the week. So weeknights, school nights, work nights. There are neighbors who are close by. You're not in the middle of a dense neighborhood, but there are people there. And they have complained in the past about noise, and you're only open till 12. Now you're going to extend it till 1 in the morning. I know I wouldn't be happy at 1 in the morning hearing cars outside, loud noise, music, all of that. And I have to respect the neighbors who are concerned about that.
Okay.
And I understand you cannot control once people leave there, but they're driving our streets, they're drinking until 1 in the morning. I think it was Councilor Perry said nothing good happens after, after midnight. After 9.
Running up against Councilor Perry's deadline.
Yeah, I mean, as far as if they're leaving the casino or me, the casino, I heard there's a lot more issues like that. That's what everybody says, like, why can't you stay open? The casino stays open till 2, and I don't know.
Well, I think we're not
I don't know the
looking,
answer.
we're not looking to make more problems, so, we're trying to shut down the problems that we have, and we're trying to be proactive in this. So if you're having loud music, loud noise, people drinking is going to be loud. People drinking are going to be driving. At the other end of the day, in the morning, if people, I know most people go out for breakfast and have bacon and eggs and a coffee, but if they are drinking in the morning and they're driving out on a Monday or a Tuesday, there's school buses going by there. And that's a concern too. People are driving to work, and you've got people who potentially could be intoxicated driving out early in the day when there's a lot of traffic there. I do have concerns about those hours and alcohol being served. I think there's a lot of other establishments that have breakfast, and people go in and get their coffee and their juice and their eggs and, call it a day. Don't need to have a Bloody Mary or a mimosa, maybe on a special occasion, or, scotch on the rocks, on a Tuesday morning. So just my thought.
Yeah, if then that's kind of what you say. If you say, okay, we'll allow you on Friday and Saturday nights to stay open till 1 a.m., then that's just what I'm here for, you know what I mean? If it's Friday and Saturday, that's okay. If you say you can only drink at 10:30, that's okay. If you say 10, or if you say what you have now, that's all we're doing, that's why I was kind of confused on even kind of what I need to come for, just as far as it's just, well, you guys tell me what I can do, and then that's what I'm gonna do.
I think you're here because when you did your renewal of your license, you didn't just renew it, you asked to extend hours. And because we had concerns in the past, we weren't gonna blanketly just check it off and say, yeah, let's do 6 a.m. to 1 in the morning. We wanted to bring you here to ask you these questions and so that we could get a feel for what your thoughts were and what kind of actions you wanted to put into place.
Yeah, my thoughts were if, nothing happened, everything was quiet from there on in, then today it would come in, or the next time it happened, then it would get, considered at least to be passed. Not passed, but a better chance of getting passed. Like I said, I never disrespected any officer directly or things like that. Yes, I did yell out the window, but that wasn't to an officer. It was just,
To a neighbor.
it was, frustration. Yes, absolutely. And I bought decimal readers. I go outside. The crickets are louder than my music. The confusion was there was a speaker that right when you go in the door, there's ambient music, and if that one doesn't get shut off, then sometimes it's loud. But
So
other
that's
than-
louder than the crickets. I
But
think,
other than that, yeah.
I think regardless of what we decide tonight, to-go drinks, alcohol drinks would not ever be in the mix.
Yeah, no, that. I was just saying there is a place already in town
Yeah,
doing that, just so I could leave
that
that.
would not be in the mix.
Yeah,
I
no,
think I
whatever-
can speak
whatever I
for
can
all
do.
of us. Okay, thank you.
Whatever I can.
Counselor Paul, or Counselor Demeters?
No, I'm
Counselor Paul.
So Jared, I'm caught up on a couple things here. One is that you keep saying, I'm gonna do whatever you guys let me do. And we just spoke about breakfast and how apparently profitable breakfast is. You haven't even attempted on your own right now to serve breakfast. All you seem to be concerned about is the liquor license, which concerns me. The other thing though too, you talk about noise and about crickets. There's been times where we've left this building on Monday nights, 10:30, 11 o'clock, and sat in the parking lot. And again, it may not be your fault, it's patrons, but it's a racket out there. Squealing tires, busting glass, I can finish the song.
That pisses me off.
I get it, but, unfortunately, and it's not your personal fault, but unfortunately, when you talk about noise, you're open, it's gonna bring the noise. So,
Yeah, so if it continues midnight, then that's fine. That's kind of what I'm just here for. If I can go till 1 a.m., for me, from 12 to 1 is kind of, you know, I might have 5 people in there, 4 people. I'm just trying to maximize everything I can.
So-
For breakfast and give it a shot.
Yeah, just
Back to us for the liquor license.
Just if you could, so for example, if you could go to work and make $1,000, or if you could go to work and make $4,000, I mean, what would you do? You'd go to work to make $4,000, not $1,000. So just the profits of, like I said, if I didn't have the alcohol and I was just looking to open a breakfast place, then I wouldn't be pushing it as much. But as to have the product on the shelf and there, in the establishment I have, I want to just give it a shot. You know, the barn closed down the street, which I'm sure you guys are familiar with, Little Compton. They served alcohol right in the morning. Super successful. You know, probably 80% of people had mimosas in their hands. It's just, that's it. It's just,
Mr. Solicitor, quick question for you. Am I correct in assuming that even if we were to authorize 6 a.m. to 1 a.m., we would not be able to do that under state law on Sundays? Isn't the ability to serve liquor on Sundays regulated to like 11 or noon? Start date? The reason I ask is, I sympathize with Mr. Machado because I spent 12 years standing behind a bar, right? I can recall Sunday nights, you know, in Newport in the middle of the wintertime where it would be completely dead, and the only money I made was from 12 to 1 in the morning because the other restaurants nearby closed. So I do sympathize from that perspective, having worked in the industry as long as I have. You know, I'm open to whatever the council would like to do. My personal thought would be if...
John, I agree with what you're saying. I sympathize a little bit too, but if we're trying to maximize profit, we haven't even attempted to do breakfast yet. And there's nothing, you don't need a license, you don't need nothing. You open your doors and you maximize your profit by starting breakfast. It's not gonna be leaps and bounds because I'm gonna have a Bloody Mary with my breakfast. It just, the case that he's put in front of us is not there. It's just, my opinion is, if this is how you want to you come with a plan. I feel like he's shooting off the hip, trying to feel us on what we're gonna say, and just wants to comply with wherever we're saying.
So if I could finish, you know, it sounds like from the chief that we haven't had any major incidents there. How long has it been?
I'd have to go back through all the reports.
Ballpark it.
But they're closing at 12 right now, right?
Just in general,
It's been several months, sir.
several months. So
I can say at least since the last meeting, if you recall that, I think it was maybe a month prior to that meeting. When I
Fair.
was here.
I don't,
And the reason I mention is because I think we all came away from that initial discussion and said, maybe we need to look at a show cause hearing. And then nothing was ever followed up on. So I would assume that after that point, that's when the issues died down.
I think we were getting there. The one thing that I would ask the council, and to be clear about with Mr. Machado, is if you guys decide it's going to be a 12 o'clock closing time or a 1 a.m. closing time, that business is closed.
Yep.
It is not 1 a.m. last call, staying open till 2 o'clock in the morning. I want to make that very clear, because that was one of the issues we were having in the past. It's, well, I'll close, but I can do last call and stay open. That is not the case. If it's 12 o'clock close time, I would suggest, I don't own a business,
Last call,
you do your
11:30.
last call at 11:30, you make your announcements, you can have your drink or whatever the case may be, but then you're gone at 12 o'clock, or 1, whatever you decide.
Okay. Mr. Solicitor. and then
So the
I'll
clerk and I have
finish.
been looking at the prior application. So back in December, it was a motion to approve the Class BV full liquor license renewal for Pine House Kitchen and Bar at the current hours, which was 11 a.m. to 12 a.m. for 3 months to March 1st, with the expectation of a return before the council within that time frame to answer questions. So that's what we're here to do today, to answer those questions. Obviously, he wanted to expand it, so whatever the motion is, we need to, you can extend it for 3 months until the license expires, which would be, renews, which would be till December 1st. December 1st, unless you wanted to have another kind of review period, but that's, just wanted to make clear that why he's here tonight. It was the original motion.
So a motion could be made to leave the hours as is. Correct.
If he wants to open for breakfast tomorrow, he can.
And he can always come back at a later time to try to extend those hours again, if you'd like to. So that's the applicant's choice.
All right, so there's a motion from the council. I'd be happy to entertain one because,
Like Mr. Edwards says as well, like, you know, even it kind of hit me because sometimes I get nurses, you know, they just got off of work and they go in at 10:30, 11 o'clock and, you know, just have a bite, have a drink.
So my
Just
my
go
last
home,
comment
you know.
before I make this motion is, you mentioned the casino. The casino's got police officers, a fire rescue detail, an unknown number of plainclothes state police.
And no
on top of
neighbors.
marked security, cameras, bartenders that are trained to say, you've had too much, you're done. And they've also been known to not let people leave that building because they've had too much. Are you gonna put a detail there?
Yeah.
My motion would be to deny the request for change of hours, leave it as is. If you want open breakfast and then revisit on mimosas down the road, I can respect that.
so just to be clear, the motion is to leave.
Really
the-
take,
So this
But-
is a request for change would be denied.
But we need to, but his license will expire on March 31st, so
March
we need
1st.
to extend, we need March 1st, so we need to
extend the current license.
extend the current license to
December.
December 1st.
December 1st?
December 1st.
December 1st.
Yeah, current.
The current hours till December 1st.
Current hours of alcohol serving alcohol.
11 to
Correct.
12, yeah.
But he can open earlier
breakfast.
and serve just food.
Correct.
And I'll be
Yes.
next, I love breakfast.
Now, what about at the other end of the, once, like, if we say 12 or whatever, he's serving alcohol until that
You
time.
cannot serve alcohol past 12 a.m.
But if he were to stay open after 12 a.m., just serving food,
He has to just serve food, and I think he has a viculating license.
Yeah.
So he has a viculating license to 7
To
hours.
12:30.
To 12:30, so.
that's, it's okay.
And that's something where I wasn't even able to change this in the application. I knew it was just such a mess with all the hours and stuff. It says like 4 o'clock on there. That was from Wally's, just kind of transferred over because the computer wasn't working at that time. But I figure the most important is my liquor license. I mean, like I said, you're not going to stay open if you're not going to drink water. And
Okay,
if you're at a bar and you want to drink,
all those in favor?
that's it.
So, the motion is to continue the current liquor hours from Monday to Sunday, 11 a.m. to 12 a.m., and extend the license to 12/31/2026. Is that correct, Counselor?
12/1, 31, 12/1.
12/1. 12/1, sorry. I wrote 12/31, I meant 12/1. I'll throw it out there. Would you be opposed to an amendment to your motion to extend the hours on Friday and Saturday till 1?
Me personally, no, because I've talked to a couple neighbors over there, and you know, people use the analogy of the casino, and have you been down there? You could take a nap in the Rotary over there, there's nobody down there.
I don't know even who I have, just with all respect, I don't even know who I have for neighbors besides like a bank,
And the ones that
library,
screamed at that
Across
night.
the
fire,
street.
across the street, Sanford's, a tree company.
Okay, can we
Believe it
just,
or not, you also do have the fire department as well,
Yeah,
you know, so.
and then diagonal, that's
All those in
what I'm saying,
favor?
fire department.
So, all right.
no, I would be opposed.
So I
Right.
offered the amendment. If you're amenable to it and you seconded it, then it would be to change the hours from 11 to 1 Friday and Saturday and leave
Yeah.
11 to 12 intact for the rest of
What's
the
the
week.
trial on it?
I mean, the trial is the chief would come back to us with a show cause hearing and we'd,
Yeah,
yeah, we have to vote on my amendment first, so.
Was your amendment second?
My amendment was seconded by Councilor Paul.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, thank you.
no, it wasn't.
Didn't you? Oh, okay. Then I'm looking for a second to my amendment. Seconded by Councilor Comito.
For discussion. Okay,
Councilor Perry.
yes. You mentioned way back at the beginning of all this that I guess you close at 12 now, and people are in there until 3 or 4 o'clock cleaning up. You close at 1, they're gonna be in there until 4 or 5 o'clock cleaning up, and that's what you said.
And drinking.
And that's where what?
You said they were in there cleaning up. So if you push it back another hour, they're gonna be there even longer.
Correct.
They're gonna open for
And
breakfast.
who's gonna guarantee that you're gonna stop serving, or you're gonna get people out of there at 1 o'clock? I don't trust this.
Well, if they
No,
ever come.
if
and-
they're not leaving at 12 o'clock now, what's gonna make them leave at 1 o'clock?
That's bartenders cleaning up, sir. I'm talking about.
You're the one that said it, not me.
Yeah, I said people as bartenders cleaning up. There's not customers cleaning up my restaurant for
No,
me.
I know they're not cleaning up, but
Oh.
still, people are in there, and I don't know who else is in there and what they're doing. I'm not there. I just don't trust this. They're not leaving at 12 o'clock. What's gonna make them leave at 1 o'clock? And, you know, I'm listening to the chief.
All right, any further
When
discussion?
that was happening, when the officer went in last time, that was just a misunderstanding. I thought I was able to abide by the state law. Ever since that happened,
I'm not
I
doing
mean, like I said, I have no
it.
problem with closing. If you guys say, like he just said, everybody's gotta be 100% done and out of there at 1 o'clock, I'm on board with that. If they go there and they're not, and that's all means, then. I don't understand your question, sir.
So, just, the,
We have an amendment, we have a second.
yeah, I have the amendment, I have the second. We have to vote on the amendment. It would be to change the hours to 1 AM on Friday and Saturday. So, any further discussion?
That was seconded by you, correct?
Seconded by Councilor Camino. All those in favor?
On the amendment.
On the amendment, this is just the amendment. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, now we revert to the original motion, which is to maintain the existing hours, 11 AM to 12 AM, Monday through Sunday, and continue the license until 12/1/2026. Or extend the license, I should say, to the renewal period. Motion been made and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Thank you. All right. 10A, Councilor Janick, discussion of possible vote on Resolution 2026-0001 regarding low and moderate income housing. Councilor Janick, congrats on the first resolution of the year.
So interestingly, I have gotten so much press on this. I mean, I'm getting emails from all over. It's really an important issue in our town. We have so many homes and units over the last couple of years, they're not even built yet, and we're looking at over 1,000 units in town. Portsmouth, the Portsmouth Town Council reached out to me. They voted for this unanimously earlier this week, and they wished us luck on this. So do you need me to read the resolution?
No, you just wanna make a
So
motion?
I would actually like to make just a couple of little edits in it. Paul? So in the second whereas, it says the Tiverton Planning Department currently has 5 comprehensive permit applications pending. I'd like to add, and others with plans in various stages totaling 1,003, approximately 1,003 units. And other plans in various stages totaling 1,003 units, approximately 1,003 units.
What is a unit?
A unit is a home. They vary. Some are 1 bedroom, some are 2, some are condo types, but they are like one housing unit.
So the unit is counted towards.
One living space is a unit. Could be 1 bedroom.
One could be 1, could be 2, could be 3 bedrooms. Yep, that is what a unit is.
Change what else?
Okay, and the other thing, if you could just spell my name correctly at the bottom.
I do that just to make sure you're reading it.
I think my husband would appreciate it.
So, Councilor Janick, you have a motion to approve as amended?
A motion to approve this resolution
As amended.
related to low and moderate income housing, Resolution 2026-001, as amended.
Motion's been made and seconded by several. Any further discussion? Councilor Camino?
I'm good.
Okay. Hearing none, all those in favor? All right,
Thank you.
thank you. Next item on the agenda, DPW Director Silvia, discussion on Cynthia Ave Engineering Design bids received. This is continued from 1/12/26.
Oops, sorry. It's on.
Mr. Director, I
Yes,
know
sir.
you have disseminated the information. I believe everybody has received it from some of the allusions that were made at the last meeting where this came up. At this point, I believe the director is just looking for direction based on the bids that we received from the council. Do we have any questions, further questions on the items that were forwarded to us? Councilor Burke?
One general question, but I don't think we can really give them much direction, because it's not up to the
Fair point. Any further discussion on Cynthia Ave, and then this would have to come back?
Yes. So from your research, what I gathered after looking through everything, and thank you for it, is the town council never accepted this as a town street. Am I correct in that?
They never accepted it as an accepted road. They accepted the fact that it exists and it's a public way.
Okay.
That's what I see.
Right. Yep. Yep. Thank you.
Any further discussion from the council?
So we
Councilor
had
Camino.
several emails that were sent to us where it's very confusing on the emails on what was accepted and what was not accepted. So I would like to have clarification on what the past council did on accepting or not accepting it, because if you read those emails, it's very confusing on what they accepted and didn't accept.
The
They talk
email-
about paving it at one point, then they talk about maintaining it grading it for 2 years back and forth. So I would like to get some clarification on what they accepted or didn't accept. I don't know who we get that from. Pat's not here tonight.
I think the,
I mean, I haven't seen all the documents. I know they were sent to me, I think, after the last meeting, but, you know, the way that you have to do this is you have to rely on the documents. We're not going to get a council member back, you know, you got to look at the documents.
I agree that, but the documents are confusing, so maybe your interpretation would be great on it, because the way I read it, I think we paved the road.
With Council Camino, I read those documents also, and I don't, not one of them said that it was an accepted road by the council.
But they also put in the budget to pave the road.
They did, but it was
Right.
never an accepted road by the council.
I believe it's in there.
There's no language in these documents that says the council accepted it in the way that the DPW director just described. I think that's where it's helpful for the solicitor to look through all this, and there is a Supreme Court case that's mentioned in there, Mike, that is relevant to it, that would be helpful for that to be considered.
I'll be happy to take a look at it. I mean, honestly, it kind of fell off the tracks for me, but I will be happy to look at it.
any further discussion from the council?
So,
Councilor Paul?
on that note, you had presented us with minutes the last time we were here. Well, just the minutes that you talked about where the town accepted the road, I went into it that night live while you were here and you mentioned it. And what I saw was that the council agreed to accept the road as is and maintain it as is. That was literally in the minutes.
President D. Maderas recalls the council did say it was a public road. It's
Correct,
right.
the town
Yeah, that's a
accepted the
public
road.
road. No,
Town
nobody's
accepted
arguing
the
that.
road.
Public means the public that can, I'm sorry, public means that the public can pass over it. That's a definition of public road, it's not private. There's a difference between, and again, I'm doing this blind, so I don't want to say something, but a public road and an accepted road can be two different things.
In the meeting minutes say it was, so first of all, we were called down to a street committee meeting to prove that our road was an accepted road. The street committee got dissolved, and we hired an attorney because that street committee was illegally formed. It had people on it that couldn't reside according to the charter. So our attorney advised to come right to the council to get it resolved, rather than go to a street committee, pay an attorney to resolve it with a street committee that has no authority. So when we came here to prove it was accepted, they accepted it, they agreed it was accepted as a grandfathered street. When the street was put in, it was put in prior to zoning.
It's had the 40-foot wide layout. We have telephone poles, we have streetlights. It was all put in, it was paved, up to standards. I've lived there for almost 49 years. The road has always been taken care of by the town. When we had to come before the street committee and we got the attorney, we do everything, they said they accepted it as grandfathered street because it shouldn't have to be brought to today's standards because it was accepted way back in the 1950s when the road was put in and constructed. That's why they said they are accepting it as a grandfathered street.
I mean, they also
And
talk
also
about, they talk about putting it on the paving list for the following year,
Correct.
and it never got done.
And that was on October 11th, 2016. But
I'm not saying it's not accepted, I'm saying we should pave it.
So I have a question.
That's totally different.
Since you're here, because you just said that through your recollection, this whole process, that it, it predates zoning, right? So it's a grandfathered road.
that's what,
Yeah.
how they accepted
Is-
it in the meeting minutes that I said.
So my question for you, you just mentioned that it was paved at one point?
Correct. It was paved when it was put in. It had to have a 40-foot wide layout. It was a subdivision that was
Yep.
accepted.
But now today it's gravel.
There's pavement under the gravel.
Got it.
If you dig it down, and the gentleman who came out the very first time and graded it, because at that time,
Dave Camaro.
the town council said that they were going to grade it twice a year until such time they came up with a plan or a budget to pave it.
Okay.
Okay, so it was always paved. Now it's built up with gravel because we're not grading it, it's just getting filled. And so now it's built up. Back in now it's been so long, like 2015, 2014, they said, and there is meeting minutes that says the town council had come up with a maintenance plan with the residents until such time that they come up with a plan to pave it or a resolution to fix it. It's not the grading twice a year is not being done. I understand this gentleman's new to the DPW, and he doesn't answer the phone. Every time I call to get the potholes filled, that it's a fight. I have to fight. I shouldn't have to fight when you guys, not you guys, but the prior town council said that they were going to continue this maintenance plan, grading it twice a year. And I understand they don't have a grader, they had to rent it. When they rent the grader and actually grade it, it lasts quite a bit of time. But when they're just doing with what they have right now, whatever new piece of equipment they have, it doesn't last.
So, follow-up question for the solicitor, because I think some of what's getting lost here are legal terms. Can we get definitions on what grandfathered road is versus an accepted road versus a town-owned and maintained road? I think that would be the fundamental basis for us to continue this discussion, is to at least know what verbiage, because it seems like every time prior councils have discussed this, they come up with their own new definitions.
I've just briefly looked through these minutes. There are terms here that are kind of made up. There's a legal definition of an accepted road. That's a legal definition that we have. There's also things that are public ways that may not be accepted. So I think the best way for us to do this, and I do apologize, we'll look at all this stuff. We'll look at the plat, how this was done, if it was platted as a subdivision, I'm not really sure. But we can look, and we'll figure out, from our legal opinion, I can't tell you what that might
But
be.
you know what's frustrating
Yeah.
to me, and I understand you're new to this, but we already went through this with the prior solicitor. It's not fair as a resident. I pay my taxes. I've been doing what I had to do to get this done. And now, every time I come, I'm put off. Our road is absolutely disgusting right now to drive down. And you have to fight to get your road fixed. When I already paid an attorney, I already went with the previous solicitor, the previous town council, and went through all this. It's not fair as a resident to have to keep going through this. And you can read on October 11th, 2016, the town administrator said it was going to be on the paving list to be done. And you know what? I wasn't even asking for the road to be paved. I'm not unrealistic. I was asking, can we get it graded twice a year, like was agreed to, what the town council said they were going to do. And I continue to pay my taxes. I expect you guys to continue to do what was said to be done, and it's not fair.
I think that's a more than fair point, and it's my understanding that the administrator, who is not here to speak on this, but that the direction was that we will follow that original agreement while we sort through the rest of this.
I've been here since July, so the 2 gradings a year is one in the spring. I was not here, one in the fall. The one in the fall happened. I have spoken to Audrey on the phone, so I'm not
Yeah.
sure what she's speaking.
And we're
about.
gonna do another one in the spring, yes, right, in
Yes.
keeping with the agreements, okay.
And I'm being told by
With
the
a-
people that have worked there for 20 years. I don't know what else I can do. I wasn't here 20 years. The ones that were say that they do it twice a year.
Well, I
don't-
can tell you that I live
I can't
there.
defend myself against something that is or
And-
isn't happening when I wasn't here, and they keep hammering me about it in public.
Yeah,
And
again,
I did say, I had all respect that you haven't been here. I do understand that. But I also don't think that we should be depending on employees who've worked there to know what our records are. I do also know that records were lost at the town council in a flood from downstairs. I do know that previous DPW directors had the records for the streets in their garage. Okay, so at this point, it's just, and I know he's saying he's grading, they're not grading. The grading that before when they hired the grader, an actual grader, to come out and grade it down, it lasted quite a while. But what they're doing now with the machine they have, it doesn't last. Anybody who wants to go drive down the street, I'm more than welcome to take the ride with you.
Counselor,
Director, how are we grading that road now, and what are we using for
They
equipment?
have a skid steer with a grader attachment. So money was spent on the equipment
Yes.
prior to me, and that's what they were using.
So is there funds, or, and I don't know if this is a question for the administrator or whatever, or maybe in your budget, is there funds to hire a grader, like we used to do in the past? They had a list of streets that they used to do in the past, and they would take a real full-size grader and grade whatever streets were deemed on the list. Are there funds to do that, or do we need to get funds to do that?
I believe we would probably have to get funds to do that, because I think what happened was, once we bought the equipment, then they dropped the funds to hire the grader, again.
Well, I have a-
Before I was here.
And just to speak a little bit on this, so, and this has really nothing, this does not reflect on our director that's here now. So I'm going to go back to the previous director, and the research that I have done, and talking to past foremen, and talking to the gentleman who used to do the grading twice a year, Mr. Camaro, who I was been on the phone with last week, because I started doing some research on all of this. So after we had a retirement in the Public Works of our foreman, Bruce Fay, things changed right after he had left. He would set up the grading twice a year. It was a long time ago. We haven't graded in a very long time. Rick Rogers, the former director, said, we're not grading anymore. We're going to do it on our own. We're going to use our own backhoes. We didn't have the grader that we have now, but we're going to use our own equipment and take care of the roads. Grading used to go back to as far as the guy who did the grading used to grade Fogland Road. He used to take all the sand on the right, bring it all the way back to the beach. He had to get special permits, because he could only go so far on the beach with a grader. He used to grade Grinnell's Beach also, but there were several streets that got graded in the Crandall Road corridor. I can't name them all, I don't have the list in front of me. I know Cynthia used to get done, and I believe the Bull Duck Lane used to get done.
Sody Pond gets
Right,
done.
Sody Pond was another big one. Right, so, like I've kept saying in the past, somehow, some way, and the last thing I want is another street committee, is we need to sit down with, I think, our legal, the director, our town administrator, and I would love to sit on it and figure out how we classify these streets and end this problem once and for all. If it means we don't tar them, but we get back to grading them and maintaining them, then that's what we need to do, right? I don't know how, I think Mike said earlier, we have definitions that are not correct. They're right. So I think we need to nail that down. I think we need to do what was promised at least a minimum to Cynthia Ave and get that graded, and no disrespect to there's a difference between what you have for a grader and what a grader can do.
Oh, I understand that.
Oh, right, I know
This is
that.
what I have.
Exactly.
And
I
again,
understand that, but what I'm trying to do is let everybody else
No
understand.
greater is this, Craig. And-
I'm not trying to insult your intelligence.
And
What I'm
what-
trying to explain is to everybody else that we don't have the proper equipment to do it properly.
Right, and I also want to say to Audrey that I agree her road is a mess,
Yes,
because we're only grading it twice a year. That's the direction I've been given.
yes.
When you have a gravel road, every time it rains and heavy equipment runs on it, it's going to rut. When you have winter and you have freeze thaw, and things move and people drive
Yes.
on it, it's gonna rut.
Yes.
Council.
Not to
tell me
mention,
what to do.
not to mention, there is a junkyard at the end of it, which is probably bringing in
And
heavier
again,
vehicles than
not to
normal.
upset Audrey that has
Yes.
documentation that they were the owner of that driveway, not the town.
So,
I'm not disclaiming what I'm just saying this is the
And
stuff
that,
that I
and
have.
again, you guys don't come to the meetings, all that's been addressed, talked about, discussed with the solicitor, and no, that wasn't the whole street. If you go and actually do your research, like I did my research, and not
That's
depend
what I
on
have.
well,
employees.
before, all right, we're gonna stop the
Ms.
adversarial
DiMederos,
nature
you
of
sat
this.
on the council, you.
We gotta stop, we gotta bring the tone down a little bit. I don't,
I mean,
I understand you're frustrated.
So,
it's very
We're all
frustrating.
frustrated as well.
It's that you don't respect the fact that people in this town come here, and I understand it's not your fault that you change all the time, but it's also not my fault because I did what I was supposed to do. You sat on that council, and your expectation was the road was accepted and you were gonna take care of it. Is that not correct?
I
Oh,
looked
you
at-
don't remember.
No, I read the minutes, and I didn't see that.
You didn't see where it said it was grandfather accepted. Ms. Shabbat was also on the council at
I
the town
saw-
at that
But I
time.
don't remember saying we were gonna
No, I-
accept it, but we said we'd take care of it.
And you
I
said that it was
remember
gonna
that.
be, it was accepted as a grandfather's street. And I think I did provide all those minutes.
so anyway, John,
So-
can I get back to the floor here?
Yeah.
Yes, and I would just add, right, and this was on for the council discussion, I'm glad that you're here to lend your opinion. I think if you get any sense from the council here, it's obvious we recognize this is an issue. It's obvious that there were instructions given to our director's
I recognize
predecessor.
it's an issue as well that I'd like.
That very clearly we're not followed through in. We've had significant staff turnover since that even original vote in the terms of, in both DPW directors as well as town administrators. And I can tell you that in the discussions that we've had at this table with the new administrator and now with the new director, there is an agreement in place. We are going to honor that agreement. And so I don't want you to feel like we're sitting here and trying to take some sort of adversarial position, or we're going to put you in a position where you need to go hire a lawyer and come back after us.
Well, I
right?
already had to do that. That's
And again,
why I am so frustrated.
I totally get your frustration.
Okay?
Right.
And I do respect the fact that he is new. I do. And I apologize to him greatly. His guys did a great job plowing. They did a fantastic job during the storm. So I do respect he's new. But I also do respect the fact that we need to follow up. When councils change, things need to be followed up on.
Yeah, and so if I could just finish,
Suppose-
right? I think that we're at a point where we all agree that you have an issue. We agree that there was something that the prior town council had agreed to do that has not been followed through on. We're gonna follow through on that now. We all wanna come to a solution. I think Councilor Comito here is more adamant than anybody else on the planet about solving this problem, and if he could do it with the stroke of a pen, it would be done tomorrow. Unfortunately, that's not how it works. So I don't want you to get the sense that we're trying to do something other than what was agreed to, and then putting ourselves in a position where we're not going to look for a solution on a go forward, not just for your street, but for all the other streets that exist in town. Councilor DiMederos.
The only thing I want to say is this happened when Peter Mellor was here, so this was years ago. And I remember I went down to Cynthia, I don't know if you remember that, with Peter. When a council gives direction, we expect it to be carried out. A month ago, I heard it wasn't carried out.
I
I've
understand.
never been down to Cynthia Avenue
So
since
I
then.
do, though, follow up on
So-
it. That's my biggest issue.
But what I want to say is, as council members, when we say DPW director, town administrator, do something, we expect it to be done.
I
And
understand.
we
but
haven't
no-
heard it wasn't done until just
But
recently.
nobody can explain or tell anybody how we get something to the DPW other than me having to go to the town hall every time there's potholes
that there's an agreement, because every time that I need to get the stuff billed, I have to go see Ms. Shabbat to have her send something to the DPW. I had to this time, I work many hours. I don't have time to have to keep running around. So this time I went to the town administrator because I'm at my wit's end of having to, I don't want to fight about it. I've lived here my whole life. I don't want to have to fight with people to get stuff done that, when I've already done what I was supposed to. And nobody seems to know how we can get something on record with the DPW to say, this is the agreement, do this until we come.
Well, we
up
can
with a
do that
solution.
here, and that's what I was just gonna say. So Don, what are you suggesting we do?
Well, there's, as far as what has been stated, you said you would be satisfied if we came out and we graded twice a year. The administrator's already informed the council prior to this discussion.
Yes.
That we were gonna honor that agreement.
Until such time you came up with a plan.
Exactly.
As it said, because we were on the list supposedly for 2017 to be paved,
Correct.
And that never was done.
and that was never done.
Counselor Comito, I apologize for stealing your thunder, sir.
No, it's not about thunder, it's not about any of that, but like, I would like to go back to where I would like to sit with Mike, the director, the town administrator, come up with these definitions, go through our list of streets one by one, and figure out how we get something done, whether it's graded, whether it's putting a road back, whether it's $150,000 to pave the road, figure out a plan, get a 5-year plan, 2-year plan, or whatever plan, stick to it and get it done, right? And if it's a private road, then it's a private road, we can't do anything with it. If it's a grandfathered road, we gotta figure out how to fix it. If it's not, if there's no such thing as a grandfathered road, we gotta put it in a category, some type of category, on how we're gonna go forward with the roads. If that means, I've talked with Joan, I've asked her, and I just have to get down there, she's gonna teach me how to get in the archives and start looking up deeds, right? And we also had a great conversation of, the committee that was put together last time did a lot of the work for it. She had sent me some information. So, I understand what the director's frustration is about direction on what do I do, what do I not do. And it's not just Cynthia Ave, there are many other streets that are, I sent the administrator picture last week of Anthony Way. It's like driving on the moon. It's how bad it is. The craters are huge. And it's not just the street, it's where the kids stand on, it's the bus stop. And I think the state went down and patched the biggest hole. But we need a plan, we need to move forward, and we have to act on it. We can't keep kicking it down the road.
Okay.
And I just want to sit with the people and come up with a plan. And put it in front of the council, see if the council agrees with the plan.
It sounds like Counselor Comito has volunteered to do some research, and we'll be in
I
touch.
have been doing a
But-
lot already.
Meanwhile, what are we doing for Cynthia Ave?
But that's the thing, is
We cannot take a vote on this. This is on for discussion only.
But I think, as you said,
Yeah.
last time we talked, Patrick had said, do what we agreed.
But the question now is, we need to rent a grader now, and again, not your fault, you're just in the crosshairs here.
So the
We need to
gentleman
rent a
that
grader,
I've had a
not
conversation with that used to do the grading is more than willing to sit with the public works, or if it has to go out to RFP, whatever, but he's more than willing to come back and grade for the town of Tiverton. He's retired, he would love to do it.
Counselor, I'd just like to state too that Jody would definitely like to have that gentleman back. He said he did a great job.
So it's the administrator and then back to us.
Yep.
You know, looking, can I speak?
Yes, by all means, Counselor Perry.
Looking at the minutes, and that very last page, actually, this goes back to Director Bellucci.
Yep.
And I remember being on that council with Denise, she's been on every council, but, especially on that one with me. That was one of your best ones, right, Denise?
Yeah, that was my favorite.
Second favorite to this one, Counselor Perry.
Yes, second favorite to this one. But he talks about, you know, there must have been a list back then.
There was.
Because, and I remember that they had a list. And the cost to, it's got it right here, reported to bring upgraded roads to grade and pave, not including drainage or surveys, would be around $1.5 million.
That was then.
That was then. All of them. That was all of them. So I agree with you totally. I think we've got to get that list together. We've got to see where we are. And, you know, I think we mentioned this before, you know, if we pick off one a year or two a year, that's what we do.
If it fits the criteria.
Right,
It's
if
not truly a private road.
Absolutely,
Right.
absolutely.
And we go there and do due diligence and knock on the door and say, I mean, I don't know how far you go with the research, but my understanding is that some of the deeds actually go out into the middle of the street. So you would have to poll everybody on the street and say if it's private or not, right? I think that's how,
And if they owned it.
well, I'm saying that's a start, right?
And we do not, because that research has, that's what
We've
I'm
been
saying.
talking about this
We've
since
done-
I did see a
2013.
prior
Yes.
memo from the prior solicitor here that's a good starting point. He references a lot of plats and stuff that are recorded. So this may very well be a public way. I think we kind of agree that it's a public way. The question is the town going to, as a public way, going to agree to pave it or whatever they need to do? That's, so.
And
It
where
seems,
does
it seems, again, so we'll do the research on this street. On the other stuff, that's gonna take a lot of time, and it's a lot of effort.
Which
and-
is fine, this should be our priority.
Well,
Cynthia
that's-
should be
I will
our
do-
priority.
It's you guys set the priorities, and we'll work on them.
Well,
All right.
Cynthia.
You know, Craig, you say Cynthia should be our priority, but there are other people with the same issues out there, but they're just not up here.
Well, Dave,
we're forced
the
to
reason
hire
why
an
I
attorney.
say,
You know
Dave,
what?
the
They
reason,
all-
why-
They
the
all
reason,
pay
why-
taxes.
But
They're
they
all
weren't forced to
taxpayers.
hire an
All right,
attorney to come
guys.
in to prove if
But-
our road was
but
accepted,
Dave, the
as we
reason
got a
why-
letter to come in to prove that our road was accepted.
So we're gonna look at all of them, not just Cynthia Ave.
Trust me, Dave, I have the whole list, and I would be more than share all 116
And if you-
streets with you. But the problem is that Cynthia Ave was promised something by a previous council,
Yes.
and we haven't taken action. So that's why I said it should be a priority.
Okay. At the risk of cutting this off, because it feels like we're kind of moving in circles at this point, I think we've gotten to the point where the administrator has agreed. The DPW director will follow the administrator's lead. There's nothing more for us, we can't give any direction here because this is on for discussion, but it has been promised to the council that the administrator and the director will follow through and do the 2 times grading, at least in the interim, until such time as we can come up with a solution for this.
And we also stated back in November that we would go through the process of the past council of what would it take to bring it to
Yes.
standards.
And now we,
that-
and
that's- so
we have,
need to-
we've received those bids, now we know what those numbers are, that's a good starting point. Counselor Comito is gonna help us do some research with the solicitor.
Can I just make one last comment?
Yes.
The reason why they said the grandfathered street is because just like Caller Ave, Fernandez Ave, Cynthia Ave, all put in at the same time, none of those streets have drainage put in. They didn't back then, they don't now, and that's why they had accepted it as a grandfathered street back in April of 2015, I believe, was the meeting minutes, so that they didn't have to bring it to today's standards.
Yeah.
Which is a big price difference from putting drainage.
Which is another one of my questions, that for somebody at some point, where does it say we have to go to today's standards? Right, when we sell a house, we don't bring it up to today's standards, we follow the fire code that is at that particular year. Same thing with the electrical code, so that would be a legal question at
Not
some
if you have a
point.
cesspool, though, state
Thank
fixed
you.
that problem. All right. Mr. Director, thank you very much. Yeah, actually, can we, without objection, let's take D out of order. Mr. Director, go nowhere. We're gonna do D out of order. Request to transfer $100,000 from Municipal Capital Fund 640 to Snow Removal Account 5540-6451. Take it away, Mr. Director.
Yes, sir.
It seems we're short on sand and salt.
I would like to correct the record, though, sir. We don't want it to go in snow removal, that's for our hired. We want it to go in 6698, which is the sand, salt, gravel line item,
Okay?
just to correct that before we discuss it. Before the last storm, I ordered 500 tons of salt to fill the shed, and that took the rest of the money in the account for buying salt. So to get through the rest of the year, since we're having a real winter in Rhode Island this year, I'm requesting that we at least get 100,000 at this time for more salt. I've already ordered 200 ton more to get ready for this weekend, so the funds are already short for that order.
How many trucks is that, those big trucks that come in? How many tons is one of those trucks?
The smaller trucks come in with 20 tons, the 18-wheelers come in with 30.
Oh, wow.
What do we put out first
It depends on the type of storm and the temperatures. So the first few storms that were just flurrying but were cold, you don't really need to plow, but they ice over quickly, so you're using a lot of material over a long period of time, which is why we went through the salt so quickly leading up to this most recent storm. This recent storm had a long duration of heavy snow at a cold temperature, so we didn't even put product down until the storm was over to then start clearing and bearing up the parts of the road that we plowed, sorry. So it depends on the storm, the temperatures, the rate that you're getting the snowfall at. Yes, and unfortunately, it's been a cold winter where the first 3 storms were long nuisance, small amounts, but it snowed long period of time without a lot of accumulation that causes slick roads that you're gonna need to treat.
Any other questions from the council? If not, I'd like. All right, thank you. Motion made by Councilor Burke, seconded by Councilor Paul. Any further discussion? Councilor Janick? Oh, hearing none, all in favor? Thank you, Director.
Thank you.
All right, Chief Costa, announcement of a 2025-2026 safety grant and scholarship reimbursement from the Rhode Island Interlocal Risk Management Trust. Thank you, sir.
At the request of the town administrator, you put this on the agenda. I look at it that we were just doing our job. As you saw, all the recent promotions that we just made per their contract, we have to send them to supervisory school within a year. When I saw this, the Post had put some grant money out there for supervisory training. We were fortunate enough to apply for the grant, and we received a grant of reimbursement grant of $2,000. So we've already signed those offices up for, or as many offices I could, to spend every dollar of that money. They're going to school, I believe, in March, and that'll take care of the first wave, and it's all paid for by the grant.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Chief. We appreciate your hard work.
We could have come up with the ordinance thing.
Yeah.
We could have gone home.
He
My
just skipped
apologies.
over me. I should take those.
All right.
That's because you didn't take the donuts.
Next item on the agenda is Administrator Jones, update on town hall renovations. We will punt this to the next meeting because the administrator is obviously not present. So let's go to F, Council President Edwards' authorization to work with Pare Engineering related to a request for proposals for trash pickup associated with the prior community survey. Did the administrator not get it in?
I think
No.
he wants to work with PAR to develop the bid, the trash.
Bid specs.
Expires June, July?
Yeah, but can I ask a question? Did
Yes,
we
please.
vote to go to the new trash removal yet? No.
No, this would be going out to bid because Mega's contract expires at the end of this fiscal year.
So why would Pa be doing this?
So in discussions with the administrator, because of the diligent work that PAR did with the landfill solar piece,
Okay.
you know, it's basically when we've gone out to bid in the past, it's been copy and paste from the prior bid, copy and paste from the prior bid.
Oh.
We now have almost 1,500 people who have given us input. So take some of that input and build specs based off of what the actual trash survey input was.
But I would suggest it's premature, because
Yeah.
from a policy perspective, we've not decided to go to that
It
process.
would be a multi-dimensional
Yes.
request.
But why would we do that if we don't even know if we want to do that?
That's a policy
You know-
question. So my understanding is, and correct me if I'm wrong, so PAR did this survey, you got some feedback. I think the intention when we had the meeting with the town administrator was to use, because PAR did the survey for us, correct? To look at those,
No, they were,
No.
oh,
no.
they kind of coordinated, I
Yeah.
thought, I'm sorry, they coordinated the responses, whatever. They've looked at the responses. And based upon those responses, to craft a request for proposals with like options A, B, C. Much like the prior bid had optional elements in it, and then you guys accepted what you wanted, so.
Well, I understand there was 1,500 people that answered the survey, but there's so many more people in town than 1,500. And when I walk around town, people are telling me they do not want this new trash proposal. So I think we have to talk about that before we pay somebody to tell us what that's going to cost if we're not going to do it anyway.
I would add two things here. One, like the solicitor said, you guys already had the option under the current contract to go to whatever you wanted to, which is all that PAR would do. But the other thing too, the importance of going out to to having them look at this and engineer it, so to speak. Look at the problems Portsmouth was having. They just switched to curbside, and people are getting barrels, and people aren't getting barrels, and the sticker prices are going through the roof and all that stuff, so if they're the expert in what they could put together for a bid, I'm not opposed to that.
All right, so my understanding is the bid will be, tell me if I'm wrong, will be for what it is now and what it would cost if we went to the other one,
Correct.
And I
right?
assume any other.
Because
Yeah.
mega. And anything, so it'd be a bid that would include what it costs now and anything in between, okay.
So let me,
You'd have to approve the final bid, so it's
Yes.
not, it's
Well,
not
we'd
like.
have to approve.
we have to approve it actually being issued first, too.
So what is the cost that we're paying PAR to do this?
I don't
We know? All
I
right.
don't know the answer to that.
Again, the administrator not being present doesn't help.
Yeah, and
So
I think we need to continue this
All right,
until
so-
Patrick gets here.
Well, we'll just continue it to the next meeting then. Do I need a motion on that, Mike? No, we're good.
No
Okay.
objection.
All right, next item on the agenda, Council President Edwards' discussion and update on the FY '25 school deficit reduction plan and request for solicitor to amend appropriate ordinance section 2-130 Tiverton School Department Capital Improvement Revolving Fund. So, this is more of a discussion. The administrator, solicitor, myself, the treasurer, she's hoping she doesn't get called up here. No, you're fine. Have met with several times with the school committee chair, their school committee's lawyer, the superintendent, as well as their finance director to, figure out exactly where they stand. Madam Treasurer, you're more than welcome to correct me, but I don't believe we have the final number yet. We have a roundabout number. Because we're waiting on the audit to be finalized from the schools for the final.
Brendan's number as of January 9th was 1,248,000.
Yep. And so through those discussions, the schools are anticipating closure for, what was the name of that? RIAC? No.
Ryback. Oh.
Ryback,
you mean
Ryback, yeah.
No. Are you talking about the East Bay Collaborative?
East Bay, yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So he's expecting some funds there, but,
We don't know what that's going to be.
and there's some litigation on another piece of that.
So
Just clarification,
Yes.
is that 1.248
1,200,000
or 1,00248?
1,248,000.
Okay.
So, given where the school committee sits today, obviously we get the financial backup in our packet. There's really not a big avenue for them to reimburse the town for the dollars that we've already spent. Because we've effectively, on the town side, covered all of their costs for this deficit. So as it sits today, the schools, they don't have outstanding invoices, the town's already paid those. So where we sit, the school committee or the school department owes the town of Tiverton back this $1.2 million. There's only one real place that we can take that from, and that is the ride reimbursements that were segregated into a separate account. And based on the analysis done by the treasurer, that gets us almost to that $1.2 million number.
Right now, there's 706,000. And then March, I expect another 456,000. That's $1,163,000.
So just to be clear, those are ride reimbursements for capital projects that have already been approved, where the town expends money, and then we get whatever the percentage reimbursement rank. And the current ordinance that was set up by this council was to have that money be used, the reimbursement money, to be reused for other capital projects. So it was supposed to be a revolving fund, and that was a very creative and frankly, good idea. I think in speaking, I'm not.
Please do.
In speaking with the auditors and with the treasurer, and we've had very good discussions with them, they're looking to figure out how this deficit gets resolved. One of the things that the council president and the treasurer came up with was, we obviously owe us this money, and we would like to take the money from the reimbursement that we're getting from RIDE, so it doesn't come out of the general fund or whatever. So in order to do that, because the ordinance is very clear that it goes to, the money's supposed to be used only for capital approved projects, we'd have to amend the ordinance for a short-term period until that deficit is paid, that all reimbursements for RIDE up to 1.2, whatever that magic number is, all that money will go back and to replenish the town's general fund until that deficit is paid. That is a solution that, I don't want to speak out of turn, I think that the council president was, agree that it's feasible, and I can't speak for the school committee, but they're aware that that's the plan, and so they have not objected to that either.
They have not. No. Counselor Burke.
However, in the last building committee meeting on Tuesday, and Paul was there too, they are calculating that reimbursement money into projects that need to be funded. They have to fund at least $5.2 million worth of projects, or else they lose future reimbursements within the next 3 years. They were counting on that, so they will be looking for other sources for that if they can't count on that money, just putting it out there.
Yeah, but how many years do they have?
Yeah, I would, I would posit that, there may be an opportunity for us to revisit that specific agreement with the state as far as what not this prior council, I think it was prior council, voted to encumber. And I understand that we were thinking that we would use the revolving fund to help get us to that number. We also understood that the school committee was not going to overspend on the budget. So, yeah, I agree. It's a quandary. I think at this point, it's effectively the lesser of two evils.
I just want to put it out there that they spent more than what the town told them to do, and I think that is wrong. And I don't want to ever set that precedent by saying, it's okay, we paid your bills, go on your merry way. Because that money would be in our general fund right now. And that would help with next tax season. So
And paving roads.
And paving roads. It's just not right. There was a vote, this is what the town said, this is what you spend, and they went over $1 million. And to me, that is just absolutely wrong. So I think this is the best solution right now. And then when we come to the fact that we have to figure out their next problem, then we can do that.
Yeah, and I would also add that the other piece that needs to be added onto here, because I've learned far too much about how school budgets work, is that there is a true risk that, a student with significant needs moves into town and it blows their budget out. They don't sit on any sort of restricted reserves for operations there either. So I think once we get through this deficit reduction plan here, it'll be, the next iteration is going to be us looking at how we shore up some of their finances so that they don't run into this scenario in the future.
I do want to say when that student, because I know that school budget, me and Mike were there for many years, when that student comes in, there is some Medicare reimbursement also. So that helps with that also, and they help the parents get as much as they can from that. So, yes, if a student comes in that's going to cost $100,000, depending on their medical needs, a lot of that is reimbursed by Medicare.
So,
Medicaid.
So
I get Medicare, they get Medicaid.
So I'm just looking for direction as to that, we want a consensus because the Department of, the Auditor General is looking to get the process moving so that they can close out their books for, I think they wanted it done this year, right, for March. So I'm looking for direction, is a kind of consensus, is that where they want, so we can prepare the ordinance and get it advertised and whatnot, so.
Yes, I'm happy to look at an ordinance.
All right, so
I got my marching orders.
you good? Okay. All right, wonderful.
Okay, Janice, I'll talk to you about the actual number. We probably should
And
kind of round up a little bit.
We're not going to do Ask Me, are we?
Until such
you're
time
gonna
it's
do-
paid, perhaps.
Solicitors here. Are we good to go into executive? Yes?
You can do executive?
Okay. All right, so,
The information, okay,
it's in the backup.
okay.
Yeah, we have them. Yeah, you don't want to wait for Patrick?
There's-
All right, Patrick indicated to me this evening that he's okay with moving forward with
With all due
Ask Me.
respect to Council 94, we just put on Pare Engineering for more information, but this is literally like $1 million in a contract.
Right.
I would think that we should sit and wait for the chief negotiator to give us their own.
I agree.
It's up to you.
And that's, they're gonna get retro, but I'm not comfortable without the administrator justifying stuff.
Okay.
So I guess we're not going to executive, that's fine.
So in that case, as long as there's consensus from the council we'd like to hold this till the next meeting? Yes?
Yes, yes.
Okay, without objection, wonderful. I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded by Councilor Burke, seconded by Councilor DiMedeiros. Any further discussion? Councilor DiMedeiros seconded. All those in favor? All right, we are now adjourned.